Yo, Nelson here from VIP Waiters, being told by Simon that I had to say Cherrywood Podcast.
Welcome to the Cherrywood Podcast. It's Simon here.
It's Rachel here.
Please like, share and subscribe.
I think at the end of the year you should do outtakes of all of these, get the best bits.
It's never
everything
together. They never say Cherrywood Podcast or Cherrywood Productions, do
It's
they?
like a...
I suppose it depends on how they know you as well, isn't it?
Well, no one knows us. That's the problem.
Right, okay.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Right? Because for 20 years we've been Cherrywood Productions, and then this podcast has sort of got a little bit of traction, and now we're known as the podcast. So now what they call us, Cherrywood fucking Promotions.
Well, if the cat fits.
Have it anyway.
Anyway, Nelson, nice to have you on. Thank you for coming. We bumped into you at the Wedding Awards, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And I'm sure I've done a couple of weddings where you've been the singing waiter. I'm sure I have.
No.
I'm trying to think. Wilder Kent.
Definitely not.
You've
No.
done Wilder Kent, haven't you?
No.
All right, they're just all tall then, aren't they? These singing waiters. I would also like to thank you for ruining our break. It was also
Oh, yes.
because that used to be the bit, wasn't it? What was it?
Not you personally.
No, I know what you
Sit
mean.
down.
Yes,
Welcome to the
yeah.
bride and groom. And here they come. That's it. They're going to sit down and have something to eat now. And we're like, okay, we'll stop filming.
So this is our break.
Here we go.
The first
It's
time
dinner
of the
time.
day.
It's dinner time. Where's the food? And now here's the singing waiters coming on. You hear a smash. And we're like, oh, bollocks. Yeah, got to get the camera out and film this.
That's my that's my favourite part. Is coming up to the photographer and saying, oh, just that you know, you haven't got time for that dessert. All right, you've got to. I'm after. They'll say to me, so what time are you going? I'm like, I'm always after desserts, and they're like, oh, okay, just come and get me and let me know. Okay, I just did after desserts. yeah, but just give us a nod, like when you're gonna go. No, I've just said after desserts. That's when I'm going. I've just given you the nod.
Today's sponsors are Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com.
Right at Home Medway, providers of safe and trusted quality care for adults in the comfort of their own home. Whether you need companionship, medication assistance, personal care, living care or more, we've got you covered. Visit rightathome.co.uk/Medway or call them on 01634 979 000.
Put your business in front of 30,000 new customers with the Hindsight Directory. This A5 full-colour magazine is delivered by Royal Mail to Maidstone, Gravesend, Medway and Bromley, with more areas to come. Visit hindsightdirectory.co.uk.
But no, because I normally wait till all the guests have pretty much finished the dessert. So I don't wait. So some of them wait till the dessert has gone down and then we go. But depending on how many people there are, I like to make sure people have enjoyed their dessert.
Yeah.
Because to the point of being annoying, I will get everyone up on the first song whether they like it or not. I don't care how far through the dessert are. So that's why I say some venues will be like, oh, when the last dessert goes, we'll let you know and then you'll go. I'm like, no, I'm going once people have eaten a bit more. Because otherwise I'm like, come on, love, up you get. Come on. And then she like spoon of
If you eat
sticky
like
toffee
her,
like that.
I can done all three courses. She's still on the bleeding starter.
Oh, you wouldn't get the feed at mine,
She's
did you?
nice.
You'd be sitting there going...
She's a nightmare for eating slow.
It's probably because you're a
Which
chat.
is why I'm fat and she's thin.
It's probably because you're a talker, though, aren't you? I bet you're a talker. A talker, that makes a big difference to that.
It is that sort of break, isn't it, where we just sit down and we're like, right, what's going on now? Oh, singing.
No, they ring us now, don't they? Just so you know, the groom don't know, but we got singing waiters. I'm like, oh, brilliant. That's my break. Fucking ruined.
So that was it. So I was going to ask you guys, actually, because I asked this of some stories. Would you prefer, and I know the answer now, actually don't have to ask the question, would you prefer to know before the day of the wedding if there was a singing waiter there?
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucked then, you won't with me.
Yeah, but...
Because I usually say to the bride and groom, right, and obviously, so this isn't going to ride with you either, so we got there. Thanks for having me.
I just say, don't tell him.
Yeah. Take care, bye. So I say to the bride and groom, I prefer you not to tell anyone, including the photographer and videographer, so that on the day when I rock up, if you know me, it's different because obviously you'll see me and go, oh, fuck, so here goes my break. Because it creates that element of, if you've been to a venue, like say for instance one of the ones you frequent all the time, and you're like, right, okay, here we go, look at the list, right, group shots there, that there, so you know in your mind all the pictures are going to be exactly the same as every other wedding that you take there. Not every wedding. That all of a sudden, knowing that there's a singing waiter there just gives you extra footage that you weren't going to get, that kind of go, oh, actually today's wedding's going to be a bit more fun. We've done 3 on the trot here, and we always do the shot in the swing. We always do that, and all of a sudden you've got more footage, which has now become part of the album that you weren't expecting.
I think the reason they tell us is they want the video from the moment like you fall over. You fall over, and if we don't know, we don't know.
But I would tell you literally the moment I arrive on the day. So if I've gone
then that's all right.
But it just gives you that, because in your mind you're already prepped. You've got your huge shot list, and then obviously if you didn't know me, I'd wait till you've done the ceremony and stuff like that, and then I pull you to one side. In more often it's the reception drinks. I'm out with canapes and welcome drinks, and I'll come up to you guys and I go, well, do you want a canapé? And you'll be thinking, we don't normally get offered canapés, but whether you take them, I don't know. And I'm one of the waiters that. And I know this, you probably agree with me, because we had a conversation just about the drinks and stuff. I'll always come up and say, do you want a drink or something like that?
Yeah.
And everyone, you'll be like, oh, we haven't even been offered a drink yet. So I'll offer you a drink, and then I'll be a bit later go, just so you know, and they'll be like, oh, right. And then I go, and this is what's going to happen. And I'll say where I'm going to fall, what I'm going to do, where I'm going to put the guests. And I orchestrate the whole thing. So I'm like, I'm going to fall there. I'm going to get the guests here and there. I'm going to do that. And they're like, you're going to do that? Trust me, it's going to go exactly like that.
Yeah.
And then you've got a better idea where you can stand, you know?
That sort of notice, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
No problem at all.
Because I've worked with a few where I
thought you were just going to crash to the ground. And then that's when we know.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
Because it is like, if the venue tell us sometimes, and they say, oh, they've got singing waiters, and you're like, which one?
Right.
Which ones?
You can work it out eventually, because he's the one grafting while the other waiters are just like sit back.
I don't like taking photos of people eating.
Yeah.
So I'll say to all my bride and grooms, when you sit down, you've come into the room, I'll take one shot of you at the table or a few shots at you at the table laughing, and then that's it. Because people don't want to sit there and go, and have that food, or, oh shit, I'll just drop something down my top or something like that. So that is my time. But after that, I'm like, I'm going to leave you now.
Yeah.
No photos. You don't have to be all staged. You don't have to be all, where's my photo being taken? Nothing like that. So that's when we leave them, don't they? And then we come back in when we know set-up speeches is normally at the end of dinner, beginning of pudding. Yeah. That's when we go in and set all the cameras up for speeches, and we say, where are you going to stand? Where are you going to stand? That sort of thing. But yeah, so that's when we come in with you and go, right, now we've got to do another half an hour earlier to say, where's he going to stand?
There goes your break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll normally tell you when I arrive. Obviously, if now you know me, so you'll see me and you'll be like, oh, here we go. Yeah. But normally I would let you know before the wedding breakfast, so you can set up and then tell you where everyone's going to go. And I also, when they say, I was just joking when they said, when you're actually going to start your videos after desserts, I usually speak to whoever's coordinating. I say to get the venue staff to kind of like swarm the room. So I'll say, the venue staff will swarm the room to pretend to do wines and waters or pretend to work. Yeah. Because that's what they've been doing all day. And I'll be behind with the tray cutlery, and then I'll follow, so that way, that's your cue. So you know that once you see the swarm of the team come in, I'm going to be not far behind, and then it's go time. You know, so it gives that, you know, otherwise the amounts that I've done where I have come in and I've let the photographer know, I've let the photographer go, I'm going to fall over, it's going to be in the middle of the room because the bride and groom know, so it's not a surprise for either of those. I'm going to fall that in that direction, come out there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair enough. And then they'll be chatting to someone in the middle of the room and they'll go, and they go, oh, I missed it. I had one photographer, not going to mention the name, ask me, because I did explain what was going to happen, did all that sort of stuff.
Asked you to do it again, didn't they?
No. Better than that. I'd explained what's going to happen and that, and they said, and this person said, oh.
Is there a fly?
No, it's my phone's going off.
Right.
And I said, I've seen singing, and they basically was like, oh, I'm singing waiter. I was like, oh, okay, trust me, I'm not any singer. I am the best singer waiter you ever work with. Trust me. He was like, he said, oh, well, you know what's going to happen. I said, well, let me explain how I'm going to run. And he was like, no, I know what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. Fair enough. So when I fall over, I milk the arse out of it to the point that the guests get me to a chair or someone phones a paramedic, right? And he got hurled abuse by the guests, which he didn't like, which he then said this. But then afterwards he did say, oh, you were absolutely amazing. However, his colleague that was taking some pictures, I'd said to him, it's after desserts, what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. He was still in the room having his food, and I'd been in and I'd said, 5 minutes, got a 5 minute warning, going to be going in shortly. Just let you know. And it went, okay, fair enough. I said, so I'll come and let you know again. Went back in again. Went, right, a couple of minutes away. Desserts have just gone down. Going to wait for them, eat a bit. Couple of minutes. So I'm going to go and get my tray. The tray's already ready, but I'm going to go. Once the swarm happens, yeah, perfect. Like, so I give the heads up. He complained afterwards that he said to the event that I didn't let him know. And I was like, I did let you know. And then messaged me a few days later asking if I had any pictures of me falling at that venue from somebody else. Like, I was thinking, well, I'm going to send you another photographer's pictures because you didn't catch it. Yeah, of course I will. Yeah, no problem. How about you do your job? I was like, yeah, so
it's quite hard for us when you guys do come out because we have to be a bit incognito as well. Otherwise, if we're there going, all right, let's get ready, people go, well, we know what's going to happen there, don't we? So we have to be really a bit stealth. So we try and stand back a bit. You've obviously got the cameras running, but
I pretend I'm sorting the camera out. I've got a camera on a gimbal because you're getting them all up.
Yes.
I need a gimbal for that.
Yeah.
I want to follow you around. I do have one fixed running the whole room, so it will capture some things if I've tripped or bumped into a guest or something, because it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you start getting them up, it's mental. But yeah, I have a gimbal, so I just pretend I'm fiddling with that. But I know you're on your way type thing.
Because some people, obviously, if they do see you, like you say, you're there with the camera, then they probably think it's a bit staged, or they go, oh, you're so rude, you're taking pictures. And I had some women. I had one of the photographers tell me that some woman said to this photographer, said, don't you need some sort of consent to film someone who's injured? So the amount of things that there was one guy, I've worked with him loads of times at a venue, and he said every time I work, so it's like, I get that thing where I'm at moments away from getting punched in the head. He said it feels like it just gets longer every time. He says that. He's like, and someone's going, mate, you got to stop. No, trust me, it's going to be fine. He's like, no, you got to stop filming. No, please wait. He's like,
blimey.
So when did it all
give my
start?
secrets away.
Where did it all start then?
Well, I've been a singer forever. Started in bands at school, started professional when I was 14. My dad was a singer. And then went from there, did pubs, clubs, that kind of stuff. I sang abroad. I fell into being a singer, pardon the pun. I think it's probably nearly 7 years ago. So I was working for an agent, just doing normal cabaret singing, like golf clubs, all that kind of stuff. And this particular, not going to mention their name, one of the bigger singing rate companies messaged this particular company because they were looking for new singers. Mm-hmm. And the agency I worked for was like, oh, Nelson's our blue-eyed boy, we'll go and do it. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll give it a go. So literally that was it. Went and did my first one on my own. So I was lead from my very first one, funny enough. But the guy that was their main guy also was a videographer. He was there filming it.
Sorry, I'm listening.
That's all right. Searching for his personality.
I'm getting an interruption on a slight squeak and a noise. That's a bit better.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You're looking for your personality. You have to look a bit deeper than that. No, he said that and then... yeah, basically did my first one and it was pretty much, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I really like this. And then that was prior to COVID. And then coming out of COVID, I went back working for the other two biggest companies. I was working for the biggest one. And then they didn't like the fact that I kept on being asked for all the time. Yeah. As I then found out afterward, the guy just decided he wasn't going to give me any more work. And he booked me up for the year. And then basically just stopped giving me work, but didn't tell me until it got to the point where I was wondering why the rest of my work hadn't. And I was doing like 100 weddings a year for him, and he just didn't like the fact that I'm popular.
Yeah.
So he got rid of me, and then I went to the next biggest company.
Which one you're bringing him?
Well, isn't that how business is meant to work?
Yeah.
And it was. And I was like, what? I was like, what? So I went to work for the other company, and then pretty much in a very short space of time, the same happened with them. And then that was it. I was like, no work. So what do I do? I was like, well, I'll work for myself. Mm. So what was the worst thing in the world became obviously the best thing in the world. So that was like just over 2 years ago now. Yeah. So
do you remember your first gig that you did? Were you like...
First ever singing waiter gig?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that one. I wouldn't say I was nervous because I've been a performer for forever, but you get an element of nerves anyway. Like whether I was singing in front of like 10 people at Care Home or a few thousand people at Oddly, you get nerves because you're overcritic. I'm sure you probably find it with yourself, and other people you speak to will probably have the same thing. If you don't get nervous about something, you don't care. Yeah. So I'm extremely critical about what I do, maybe too much. The same when I'm doing, like that's the other thing for helping out as much as possible to build up the rapport with the guests is that you're kind of not worrying about the nerves as much then, because you're bantering the guests, you're building up the rapport, which then when you do the bit without underselling the bit that's later, it makes it easier because everyone's kind of already knows you. Yeah. They know you without really knowing you, so they've already bought into the fact that you're a member of staff, but they've had a bit of a chat. I'm ripping them a new one over the canapes. So you kind of got built up a nice little rapport. Yeah. So then when you do kind of head first into the floor, the amount of people that go, hey, like, and the others that are like, I hope he's all right, and the amount of people that swarm to help you based on that.
Well, you know how much of a prick you are. No one.
Yeah. Oh well. It's him like that.
Oh, it's that arsehole that's been around all day with the food.
But the amount of ones that do help you, it's phenomenal how many people run to your aid. Old, young. It amazes me every wedding I do. How many people help you?
Does it worry you about giving like an old boy a heart attack?
Well, see, I've had this conversation with a few people because there's been, and I'm saying 9 out of 10 weddings always go off with a bang. There's a few that not so much. And there's been a few where they've been absolutely amazing gigs, and then for some reason it's then transpired that someone was offended by the fall. Like someone's gone, oh, I really didn't like that. That person was really, I thought it was in bad taste. I'm like. And the bride and groom obviously knew that's what was going to happen. They booked me and stuff like that, and they're fine about it. But for some reason, some guest has then gone to the event person, has complained about it, and then the event person at the weddings has gone, oh well, kind of thing. Yeah, they haven't said it to the guests.
What can you do? The thing is, this day and age, you can offend someone for anything now.
Yeah, you can offend someone with a look.
Yeah,
I think the thing is, as long as you're doing. Whoever's booked you, whether it be the bride, the groom, the mum, more often than not, it's usually the bride that books as a surprise for the grooming guest. Yeah, as long as, they know exactly, and this is another thing when I generally speak to couples and I make a point of saying, what I do is a little bit different to other singing wear companies, as in, no disrespect to them, everyone's got their way. It's carnage of the ones I do. Mm-hmm. My banter, and I've got to say this because it is, I'm close to the mark. I build up a rapport with the guests, so I know who I can pick on, who I can't pick on, who I can angle the remarks at. I did one where there was he was a fair old size lad, but I just kept picking on him because my dad used to say, if you can pick on the biggest person in the room and they laugh, everyone else is, easy. Yeah. And this particular, he was a feral, and I was having a proper banter with him, and he had these tight jeans. And I was like, he got spray on jeans, and then in the set, I was like, oh, it's not leg days. I was proper picking on him, and the groom was like, oh, of all the people to pick on, you had to pick. But he took it so well, and he had such a nice way about him, and we hit it off. It was really good fun. And afterwards, he was like, I've seen Singing Mates, but he said, you were amazing. He said, he goes, there was no way I would have known from the start. He said, but to be quite fair, if you'd spoken to me like that outside, I would have knocked 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And it was funny. But it was that.
No.
Did you bang the mic? Did you? Oh, you didn't.
It doesn't count. You're right. It doesn't count.
Mic one.
It should. Yeah, I think it should. But and it was that. I think it's because of that. So I say to most couples, I said, it is, watch the Instagram, check out my stuff. Yeah. I am full on involved. It's full on close to the mark. It's carnage. It is. To the point of being annoying, I will get everyone up. I won't just walk around, sing a bit and go, oh yeah, maybe we'll get a napkin wave. Mate. It's like, no, it's full on, interactive. Yeah. Every song's got a purpose. You're up. The guests, I don't take no for it. If people leave, I get them back in. I stand there and go, I'm not going anywhere. We evening guests are going to be arriving soon. You either come back in, I ain't carrying on. And the amount of people are like, what? And the amount of people that come back in, and the bride and groom are like, I'm so glad that you all these people were like really like enjoyed it. Because it's like, to the point, you got to sometimes go, this has been, and this is how, this is how I think you notice the difference at weddings that you do, is the respect level. If the guests join in more, they have more respect for the bride and groom because they realise it's been booked for them. They're like, and I make a point of saying it's been booked as a special surprise, and make a point of announcing this at the set so that people are aware that this has been booked for you. This is get you. And any weddings that I've done where the guests tend to migrate,
Yeah.
and then to the point, you know, even if I'm almost dragging them back in, they don't want to join in. It's like, mate, you obviously don't care enough about this couple's day to partake. You know, that's kind of what you're here. You know, this is a fun day. It's never going to happen again. Well, it might do when they get remarried, but I mean, it's never going to happen again. So this is all in. This is happening, and I think some weddings you go to, and I can do somewhere it's like a lesser amount of people, and they'll be completely right involved, every single person, and the event will be like, the event people there will be like, oh wow, that's amazing, you know, every single person, and then you'll do ones where it's like 150, 160 people, and then you're going to lose some people because some people will be like, oh, I'm too cool for school. You're not, mate. You just happen to put a suit on for the day and you're not going to call. It's like, and it's that kind of, you know, that level of understanding that you want to get everyone in. It's all in. You know, I'm not just there to, you know, just let's have a little bit of a sing along. Yeah. If you want that, go book just a normal singer.
Yeah.
You know, the whole ethos of a singing waiter is to kind of get that, like you said, you want that pandemonium. Yeah. You want that level of fun that people don't get anywhere else. You know, that's kind of how it's got to be.
How are you? Because obviously, people start recognising you.
That's why I got my baseball cap on today,
and they'll start recognising the fall as well.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
So
yeah.
Because I've been at a wedding where a singing waiter's fallen over,
and you're like,
and everyone's. Well, not everyone. You see a couple of tables like, oh, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? Because they've been at a few weddings. Do you know what I mean?
So
Do you jazz it up a bit?
Yeah,
you have a couple of different starts.
I've got different ways of starting, but because, like I said, because I milk the arse out of it, so most others will fall over and get straight up, or they'll be down a little bit. I did it at the wedding. I was at a Sunday. There was a guy there. He'd seen it before. And the only reason why he thought I was a singing waiter, and this was before I even done my bit, was because I wasn't allowed to serve the food. So I served the canapes. Right. I did the wines and waters. I even cleared the plates for the dinner. He was like, oh, he hasn't served any food. And I was like, and some venues, it's food safety, isn't it? They won't allow you to serve the food. Other venues, I can carry 4 plates. So other venues, they'll be like, oh, mate, you crack on. You know, the ones that I've been to loads of times, they're like, Nelson, do whatever you want to do. Just you know, jump aboard. But they were like, oh, yeah, don't serve the food. So anyway, done everything else. And he was like, he hasn't served the food. So he was kind of trying to watch me, and then he'd spoken to the table and he kind of said, oh, I think he's one of those things. So he mentioned it to the table, so I spoke to the bride and the bride said, that's my brother. And I was like, oh, okay, right, we'll sort him out, don't worry. And it was, and when I fell over, because I was down long enough and I was like, oh, you know, and I give it all that and my arms shaking, all sort of Oscar winning performance, everyone helped me up. He said afterwards, because I went up to him, I said, oh, he even said, he said, oh, yeah, because earlier I did kind of think that. But then when I was speaking to my missus was saying, yeah, but he was serving canapes earlier. He was outside, he was clearing glasses and stuff. So I can't see him being singing. So she was like, and he was like, oh, I'm second guessing it. He said, and then when you went over, he goes, I was thinking, hey, and then he went, no, maybe he's not getting up. He said, I felt really bad because I'd probably gone, hey, and then you're like, he's not going up. He said, here's what he said, when I looked over at the bride and groom, he said, and I was thinking, because they were really concerned. And when I spoke to them after, they even said, when you went down and we booked it, we were like, we're like trying to like, because, and it happens at some venues that I've done loads of times, they even look at you and go, has he injured himself this time? I don't get. So I think from what you're saying, I think it depends on, and I think with most weddings, even though, and I suppose not everyone necessarily trawls Instagram and TikTok, unless you're booking a wedding, the minute you type in wedding, you get, you know, fire breathing dragons and owls delivering rings. I think unless you're getting wed, you don't tend to see it. Yeah. Unless you've been to enough weddings, you don't tend to see it. Yeah. So I think it's that. Yeah. I think it's more that.
It's like speeches, isn't it? We've heard.
We look over at each other.
Constantly, you know,
straight off the
same jokes.
Same jokes. And everyone's like, yay! We're like, yeah.
I do appreciate a good speech, one that someone's written. You can get
but not the ones where it's just the jokes where they just copy off the internet.
I went online and I found, and then I realised and all that sort of stuff.
My speech has got to be as long as you last in bed. So
good night, everyone.
Thanks very much. So yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god.
But isn't that the same as when you get maybe couples that go, oh, because I booked something really unique, and you're like, really, what have you booked? Photo booth, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I haven't seen any of those. Yeah, I bet you get that, don't you?
Yeah. But then you've got to think, right, these people, they've not, some of them have not been to any weddings.
No.
And like, it's the same with albums. We show them an album, and they're like, blimey, what's this? We say, where's your album? And they're used to seeing their mum and dad's photo on every page. They're not used to seeing a storybook style album. They just get, oh God, have I got to strike myself?
You did you?
But not even your mic.
I've done his mic. Yeah, so yeah, they're just used to seeing whatever they've experienced, and sometimes they've not experienced even a wedding.
And I think that's what you said. I think. Yes, I have got some other little reveals. So I'm not going to mention those. But the fault it depends on how you do it, and from my point of how long I milk the arse out of it, and whether or not it creates that. Which is getting back to what you said. I think I've had a few people where they've gone, oh well, it was a bit unnecessary. It was a bit kind of like, you went on a bit too long. Yeah. But then sometimes that's been the discerning factor with who that I've done somewhere. Like I did one where the bride had booked me, and she'd seen Singing Waiters the week before. A friend's wedding up north, and she'd seen 3, and she was with her other half, and they were like, "Oh, I really like that." And she was like, "Oh, she's going to book it." So she booked me as a surprise. She spoke to the venue, and oh yeah, he's the recommended supplier. Got to book him. So I rocked up, and I was proper canapé, got drinks to the groom and stuff like that. So he was unbeknown, and when I fell over. He'd seen it like a week before, but because I'd been there all day, and like literally to the point that when he'd come before they'd even gone to the ceremony area, I was there chatting with him, going, "Yeah, take some breaths, you'll be fine, kind of stuff like that."
To make sure you're in their mind.
Exactly.
You've been there all day.
Exactly. He was like, he was thinking no, because when I hit the floor, he came over and he was helping me, and it was only then when I like, whipped my mic out, but put it over his shoulder and started singing. And he said, "Oh," he goes, "I only saw this last week." I said, "Yeah, I know, because Sam booked me as a surprise." And he was like, "Oh God," he said, "But you was the old." He said, "You was like when he was chatting to me before the ceremony." I said, "Yeah, I was like." He was like, "Oh, shit." I said, "Yeah," he said, "You've been everywhere." He said, like, and it was that, and then literally I went over to because a friend was there who'd had the Singing Ways before, and I said, "Oh, I had you to thank for Sam booking me because you had 3 last week." She was like, "Yeah, they weren't a patch." And the way that you held the crowd, I had like 180 people like eating at me out. It was like phenomenal, but it was like it's how you do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so you only have 2 things when it comes to any job. It's what you do and how you do it, and that's it in a nutshell. So even though someone may have seen it before. To the point of that woman that had the 3 previous that week, she was like, when you fell over, I was like, Singing Waiter.
Yeah.
But then because you milked the arse out of it, she was like,
maybe not.
No. But the groom, obviously, because he's in the moment and it's his wedding day, even though he'd seen it a week ago, he didn't even think. He's not thinking, I saw this last week. Yeah. He's like straight away, oh God, the waiter's injured himself. Yeah. He's probably thinking, oh really, of my day, does he have to? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, call yourself a man. But it's that thing. So I think it depends.
I think we're similar, aren't we? Because it's not just the photos and video for us, it's us as a double act.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
People buy people.
Yeah, because we have a laugh and we can gauge if it's going to be, quite a posh to do sort of.
If it's going to be a C-bomb.
Or if they're up for me sort of flirting and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been under the veil with them filming. I go, oh yeah. Do you know what I mean? And they're pissing themselves laughing. But as soon as you've got that natural smile and laugh, the photos just. They just lift, don't they?
But I think that goes back to me saying if I build up the rapport with the guests, that when I used to work for the other companies, we had somewhere you just kind of turned up and then you did the bit. And it just felt very, very difficult because you're not, it's going to sound a bit cliche, you're not in the love bubble. If you're there all day, you're in their little energy.
It's a recognise. It's like it takes an hour or 2 to get used to a face.
Yeah.
Which is the whole reason for this podcast. That's what we want to do. People get used to us as a face first.
I think,
and that means a lot to them, especially if you're spending the best day of their life with them.
Yeah,
and we're spending the whole of the day with them.
Yeah. And I said the same for me. I mean, it's all about the energy for me. Everything's energy. It's the energy you bring to the day, and it's not just what you do on the mic. It's what you do off the mic that counts. It's how you rapport with the likes of like yourselves. And I'm sure you've probably worked with plenty of other suppliers. Not just Singing Ways, that they kind of like people turn up and they think it's either about them or they're the most important person on the day. They rock up as if to say, and I've worked with so many, and I'm definitely not going to know DJs, bands, that literally they turn up and it's like as if to say, well, I'm really important. And you're like, I'm ever so sorry.
Yeah,
this ain't Wembley, this ain't the O2, this ain't your day. Yeah. And I will turn up to a venue and no disrespect, on the mic, I'm God. With the mic in my hand, that's it. It's my show. But beforehand and after, I'm part of the team. I'm there to make the day go as easy as possible, to help out as much as possible, and to make the energy of the day that much more happier. You know, turning up as I'm sure you probably worked, turn up and they're all a bit like, oh, and they just bring their baggage with them, and it's a bit kind of like, it's like, please just leave that at the door. They've come
in again, doing the same venue agagen. It's like a conveyor for them, isn't it?
And it doesn't. And the other thing, even from working with you guys, you know, when you turn up and you speak to I happen at every wedding, whether I've been to a venue or not, I will bowl into the kitchen. I'll be like, "You're right, chefs." I'm Nelson. I'm the surprise, and they're like, oh, and then literally straight away you get that. You make people laugh. You make people smile. You know, and the same would be said from the guests. You have that rapport with the guests, like you say, they know who you are without knowing who you are, to the point that they feel comfortable, and then it's easier for you to get them up and to do silly stuff. You know, because they feel more connected, you know. And like I said, I've done plenty in the past where you do turn up and you do the set, and it feels a little bit disjointed because you're not in their energy level. You're not in that same space. So then when you do fall over into the bit, you're kind of trying to win them round in the set. Yeah. And then that's very difficult because you're trying to entertain, one, you're trying to perform and trying to get them to interact. But there's nothing worse than trying to ask someone to do something if they don't know you. Yeah. You know, if you whether you know this, if you mention someone by name, the more you mention someone by name, the more they like you, because they like the sound of their own name. They've been told it since they were a kid. It makes them warm to you. So I will always call the bride and groom by name.
That's why someone with your own name warms. You like it. They could go badger baiting for all you know. But if their name is Simon as well, you're immediately their mate, aren't you?
Well, you know they're a weirdo.
Or August. Yes. Oh, were you born in August? I was born in August. August 11th. Then we're literally.
That's it.
We're literally in love.
Your kindred spirits.
It's weird, isn't it? But that happens. Yeah. That happens all the time.
I think they say it, but by being someone, and that's one thing. I'll always call them by name. So it used to be that some singers go bride and groom, but I'll always make a point of saying their name. And there was one gig I did when I worked for the other company. Where I was one of my mates that I used to work with quite regularly, and I'd done the bit, done the full, got up, done the first one, and then went to introduce the bride and groom, and I introduced the bride, and I went to introduce the groom, and I went. And I turned around to my friend, and he stood by, you know, like the sign for the bride and groom, and he's looked at it, he's looked at me, and he didn't tell me what it was. And ever since then, I still got to remember them by name. But the thing is, the more you say people's name, even like the guests as well, when you're around the camera and you hear people talking, and then you have that thing, and you know, I make a point of people then asking who I am, you know, and I'm Nelson, and you be that thing, and I say, oh yeah, I'm vegan, I've got 4 children, and you get into that whole story element of that you. That later on when you've done the bit, they go, so was any of that true? Do you actually have children? Are you vegan? That because you've had such a good chat with the majority of the people that you become, you know, like a friend to the family. You know, like my reviews, some of them say, it was like, you know, they're like essays rather than being a few lines. And it's more personal.
Well, the amount of times that we have to we say goodbye to the bride and groom, and then we have to
go round.
Then we have to kiss dad. Then it's the bridesmaid.
Everyone we've interacted with, and then had proper banter with, we're looking for them. We look half hour to go.
But don't you find that? But that's nice, because like you say, I think people buy people. So that's the same for me. I like the personal touch, and I like the fact that you then go round. But I mean, that's another thing which I do, which you might find you probably do as well. I will never leave a venue without saying bye to the staff.
Without
yeah. People do though. People do, the staff. I'll always say bye to the photographer before I go. Generally, I'm there till normally cake and first dance anyway. Yeah. A lot of no disrespect to other companies tend to leave the minute they're finished. Pack down, they're gone. I generally hang around because I like to get a little video review for Instagram for the bride and groom, and if they got a photo booth, I'm a sucker for photo booth, got to get photo booth pictures of the bride and groom. I've got a wall in my office full of photo booth pictures, bride and groom. It's just personal, it's just a nice touch, and I can look back at it and go, oh, that was that couple of notes. And it's just, I put up a post New Year's Eve, and it was literally just like a collar, like, you know, a montage of all these photo booth pictures of me with all these bride and grooms, silly hats, all the kind of stuff like that. Because it just makes it that bit look, you know, that bit nicer. Like even the gig I was at on Sunday, I was there and they were like, and the staff just joking, they're like, you still here? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting a little video review with that couple over there. I'm just getting that little selfie. I'm just going to get on the phone, and it's just nicer because kind of they've paid a lot of money for you to be there to do a certain job, you know, and obviously, and I'm sure you probably have the similar thing. people that tend to go, oh, well, that sounds like a lot of money for such and such amount of time. Someone will go, oh, that's a lot of money for half an hour, like my performance. I'm like, you're not actually paying for the time I'm singing. You're paying for the years of experience that has made me epic.
Yeah.
You're not paying for the length of time I'm performing. And it's that they're paying for. It's the energy you bring to the day. It's the personality. It's all that. And so to then be there still and to chat with a guest, or to, for it to be so personal, I think because weddings are personal, it goes hand in hand. To just turn up and go, right, this is my job. I've done my job. See you later. Bye. I think
you'll be surprised how many suppliers do that sort of thing.
But this is exactly what I said. The amount that will go without saying bye. And I think you're definitely not as old as me. You're you probably did video footage at the Last Supper. But I find that you've always got to say it. And I think, and this is what I'd say to my 8-year-old, the two biggest skills in life that you should learn are manners and being kind. And I think going around and saying people...
Says the bloke who just said that.
Yeah.
On the last fucking supper.
Listen. Sometimes you have to face facts. No, but...
Do you know, I've never filmed analogue. Never edited analogue.
Really?
25 years I've probably been going.
Wow.
For original digital coming up. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a fair old amount of time to be doing it as well, though. 25 years.
I've been engineer for 35. Yeah, so, yeah.
Obviously had a hard paper round.
Yeah.
But no, I think it is. It's just being courteous. You go to places and people don't, and I think it's more the younger generation as well, and maybe like you said, people that tend to look upon it more as a job than it being part of someone's dream day. Someone's delivering. I think people forget. A lot of suppliers forget how long it's taken for that couple to make a decision sometimes to have you at their day, because like you guys, you're there all day. So it's not just about the product that you're delivering. Like you say, it's about you being there, isn't it? So they're taking hours, and I think people just go, oh, well, they picked me because I was good, or they picked me because this. It's like, and it doesn't. Sometimes it could be something, and I think more times it's. And I'm sure you probably get a lot of your work like that as well. It's recommendation. Like you go to the venue, and the venue go, oh yeah, they're so nice. They're blah blah blah. You're going to get work. Being nice is a very underrated skill. I think a lot of people perceive is like, oh, it's you can be nice anytime. I think being nice all the time, that's difficult. But doing it when it counts is like, which pretty much is when you're in, especially when you're at a wedding. I mean, you can't just rock up and go, I've had a bad morning, so I'm going to bring my bad morning with me. And then,
you'll be surprised.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
you'll be. There's so many skilled wedding vendors out there that just haven't got the mentality to be nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just so full of their self and full of their own ability that they just can't. Some people can't do it. There's an element of ADHD there, or something like that, or Asperger's there. And they can't interact with other people. They're really good at their job, but they just can't interact, and they don't realise they're losing so much work from not just being slightly different.
But you get some that are like that, but also are not bothered.
Whether not having that.
Yeah. Because they perceive themselves as being. Because I'm not, and I definitely don't name and shame. There's a few people I know that I've spoken to, photographers in particular, and my motto is we rise by lifting others. So in my stories on Instagram, I'll always post other people's stuff. At the end of the day, it goes hand in hand. But there's a few episodes that literally be like, there's no point in me tagging you in anything because I'm not going to get work by recommendation. And and they said, this is the specific line they said, if I base my business on recommendation alone, I wouldn't have a business. Yeah, but you probably, if you looked deep enough, most of your work would have come from recommendation in the first place.
Exactly.
And then gradually, because at the end of the day, it only takes one person to say, that person's an idiot.
Yeah.
That gives that person a second thought to think, I'm not going to work with that.
And then it takes that person to say something to their friend, and then that's it.
And there's only one profession you can get away with being an arsehole, and that's a chef.
But you have to be though, don't you? Doesn't that help?
Do you? If I want it well done, this steak, and he says I'm not doing it well done, I say, well, you fucking eat it then.
Yeah, but to be like, if you're going to ask for that in McDonald's, you get some problems.
Do you know what I mean?
So
Would you eat it? I like it well done, or you know what I mean? I personally don't. I like it medium well. But then, fucking, you're doing a service for me. You're doing a service for me, so make it how I want it, you bastard.
So go on then. So which chef is this?
I don't know.
I want it well done. All right.
There's even unknown ones that do it. I've been to a restaurant before when they said you can't have above medium on a burger. On a burger. And you've bitten into this burger and it's literally raw in the middle. And they refuse to...
I've said, no, I want it well done before. I've been to a certain big steakhouse and they said, we recommend this cut of steak is this. I went, no, I have my... Because I don't like blood. And they said, no. I said, no, I'll have it well done.
Gone off on the right tangent.
I don't like blood. Put it this way, if it's not well done, there'll be blood. Trust me. It won't be mine.
Yeah.
It won't be mine.
But, you know, all right, I understand that these... we've gone on to chefs, sorry about this, but I understand that these chefs are known for the quality of whatever they do. But if you don't like it in that style and you want it a bit more, then they should just go, all right.
But you've got to then think that they're... And now, I don't mean that because... I have no problem with any chefs, to be quite fair. However, like you say, they're kind of hiding in the kitchen, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you're like you guys are doing, like I'm doing, and you're kind of in the front, your front line as such. Yeah. If you're not nice and you think it's okay not to be nice, well then you're either going to attract the clients that are not necessarily, and I don't mean not necessarily nice, but have a certain way about them. Mm. Because you've got that certain way, you know, and the same as like they say that you see in other people a reflection of how you perceive yourself. Mm.
Yeah,
you know? So and you attract that as well, you know. So and getting back to these particular photographers, they didn't want to. That one of them put some pictures up of me, blatantly was of me, and didn't tag me in, and I'm like, I'm on the picture.
Yeah.
You're using. It's like. Well, how difficult it is. I know, and this is going down the rabbit hole. That another photographer said to me, "Yeah, but if we had to tag everyone else, blah blah blah." I said, "Right, okay, I get that. All right, I can understand that."
Social media can be a pain in the ass for some people, and they just want to put a picture up. Do you know what I mean?
I can understand, and it does. But I think the line of saying, if I did this, I'm not, you know, what's the point? Because I'm not going to get any word from recommendation. I think is a very, very. You know, because if you're nice, like you just said, it gets to the point that if you're nice all the time, because this happened to me not that long ago, someone was making a comment about me to somebody else, and then somebody else overheard it and said, no, that's wrong. Yeah. And then this other person, you can't be talking about the same guy. And they went, oh, yeah. And I am the only Nelson around. So obviously this person was just bad-mouthing me for no reason, you know, which then goes to show, if you're nice... It precedes you.
Stand up for you.
The amount of times that we've, like with the bride and groom, you've fixed it. A bride's got out of the car, her dress ripped, you fixed it because we had a little sewing kit on her.
Yeah.
I've swapped shoes before with the bride because she said, because we've gone out and done the photos and just those two, and she went, my feet are killing me. I said, I've got flats on, do you want them? She went, can I?
She's going around, She's going around with white heels on.
Amazing white heels on, going, I love these shoes. And she's like,
well, at least you didn't have one, yeah.
Couldn't fit.
But it's just that extra bit of what can we do to make your day perfect, basically, without going over the top and being so, we'll do this.
But you say, I've done a similar thing. I was at a venue where this bridesmaid's son trod in dog shit, and I went, I'll sort it out, don't worry, like that. And the other members of staff was going, why are you cleaning dog shit? I said, trust me, you'll understand later. And I cleaned it, and then literally, so then we had this proper banter later, and she was like, I can't believe you cleaned it. But it just added to the performance. But even to say, like, even just being nice, say, for instance, I remember being at a venue, and I'm sure you've probably had similar, where certain venues will not serve certain things at certain times. I remember being at a venue, and they wouldn't serve hot drinks.
Oh yeah, we've had that.
We don't do hot drinks till after the food.
Yeah,
that's when we do the teas
and bars closed while you're eating.
And this particular, there were some older people, and they were rather cold. And one of them said, "Oh, is it possible for a tea?" I went, "Yes, fine, I'll make you tea." And then I was making tea, and this particular lady, she wasn't the person in charge. She went, "Oh, you can't be making tea." I was like, "Yeah, because it's a bit cold. I'm making a tea." She went, "Yeah, but we're not doing hot drinks later. And if you do her a tea, everyone else wants a tea." I was like, "Well, if everyone else wants a tea, I'll make them all a tea, don't worry."
Yeah.
Because I'm not actually working it. But the event lady was like, "No, it's fine, Nelson. She wants to drink, make her a hot drink." Because it's an older person. But it is that thing. It's like in certain instances, there should be a slight
Yeah, of course.
It's like
some people are just so on the either black or white. It's,
And don't you find as well that, and I had this conversation with the photographer the other day about the fact of, I don't know if you do, I always bring up the canapes to the other suppliers, and I know. And that's fine if the bride and groom have, said that's
I always feel awkward eating their stuff, but until they say, go on,
right.
and then I'll go, all right, then I'll have one, or you know what I mean?
And so I'll bring up that, or I'll ask you if you want a drink or something like that. But more so that if you're going around handing out canapes and then that, obviously that the bride and groom have paid for it, and they've got this level of that they're the ones that's there, not the venue. The venue are obviously hosting the day and doing that sort of stuff. But it's not necessarily down to the venue to say yes or no, is it?
No.
Like they can't then go, you can't have a drink. Why can't I? The same as with the food, like we were joking earlier before we was on camera about what you're down for food. The same as if to say if the bride and groom have paid for you to have food, well then you've got food, haven't you? Sometimes larger portions than others, but that's how it should be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're there to try and make their day easier, regardless of photos and video. We always take old cameras with us, don't we? So if there's a kid that's not kicking off, but kids getting bored, okay, come and film with me.
Yeah.
I'll stick them a tripod, I'll give them a camera. They're sorted.
You had on the first dance once, one kid on your shoulder filming.
Yeah.
You had the
He had the GoPro.
The first dance.
So he was filming really high shots of everyone dancing, and I was doing the close-ups.
Yeah. I think I've
It was on my shoulders.
Actually.
Yeah. Well, I send them round with a GoPro, and they get better interviews because they're used to little Billy. You know what I mean? It's their aunt he's filming, and he's doing a little interview with them and stuff.
So that's the same.
So we're sitting back going, thanks, Billy.
This will make up for that bloody waiter turning up.
But see, exactly the same what you said. So that's the same as me having a banter with the guests beforehand, because you've built up that rapport. The same as giving the camera to the kid and the kid going up and do it. They're more than likely going to go, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
The same as if I've had a banter with someone's more likely to go, oh, go on then.
But you advertise. The thing is, you advertise through these people, right? I gave that kid a camera to play with, right? We've done 3 other family weddings since, and the second one we did was his dad. They weren't even married, the parents, and he's like, we never forget you letting him have a go at that. And so I've got one of him as a 5-year-old, and then one as him as a 14-year-old, because we've done a few other families. Do you remember him? I said, he's the one that you let... You're joking, like he's all like this now. So we get another shot of him with a proper camera doing it, and it all works.
But that's because they, like you said, they're buying
bought into us. They're bought into our character, and we're a part of the family when it comes to weddings. Yes. We're actually, when they're doing a wedding, they're picking the guests, and they all go, oh, and we get Simon H, because
we know that
straight away used to it.
Yeah.
That's like I did a wedding, a venue where the bride's mum, the bride had booked me. The bride and groom had booked me. I didn't think groom was a surprise. No, the bride booked me as a surprise for groom guests. But the mum, they were upstairs getting changed. When I'd gone out on the lawn, I was helping the event person carry all the chairs out. And I'd never been to the venue before. And I was like, I'll give you a hand. He was like, no, you don't need to. I said, no, that's fine, you're near. And all the bridesmaids upstairs, so they saw me carrying these chairs out. And then the bride's mum came in, she was all panicky. And I do like breathwork stuff. So I was teaching this breathwork routine to calm her down. And she'd gone upstairs and she's teaching all the bridesmaids this breathwork. And then later on, the photographer was like, hey, it was you that was teaching that. Because she was like going on about this breathwork. And then when I finished the gig, the mum was chatting to me. I was chatting to her for quite a while about breathing and stuff like that. And so she's going to remember that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily more so than the performance, but because we had that connection, and I think that, isn't it? They people buy people, and I think they're not just buying what you sell; they're buying the fact that you believe in what you sell, and that you're part of it. I think that's.
And I take it you're a solo act, are you?
Well, I've got a couple of other guys that work for me and with me if I'm already booked.
Yeah.
But,
how about voice? Because you singers. The singer in my band, she's like a tank. Her voice never goes wrong. Never gone wrong. In what, 10 years?
I've got
a BFS coming on soon. You watch, she's going to be ill. But so do you have voice problems?
No, I mean, touch wood. Yeah, so what you just said. No, because I've been a singer now. As I said, I started when I was fresh. I was 14.
You're hard to put an age on, actually, because you dress like a teenager.
Thanks for that.
Looks like you just parked your skateboard outside.
Yeah,
and
so
I reckon you might be similar to me. You might be.
Can't be really. Come on.
74 was my year.
He's not 74 years old, by the way.
My year. 70. I reckon you know what? There's a part of me who thinks you might have 1 year on me or something like that. But I don't know.
Do you know that?
I don't know.
I think probably just turned 40, maybe 42.
Get out of it. I reckon he's up to the near the 50s. I reckon he's about 48. He might be 54 though.
Oh.
You're an hard one to do, though.
That is a
You're a hard one.
Do you know what I mean?
What is it? Are you
Cut
going to tell us? Are you going to tell us?
Nonsense. All this
We were going to
rubbish.
do a segment on guess the guest age, weren't we?
But that's you can do.
Let's do it. It's starting now. Guess the guest age. So you're going with what?
I'll say 42.
We have a
I don't
league.
know.
You and I have a league.
I don't know if he is because he went
42. I reckon he's 48. 49-ish. 48 I'll go with. I'm the nearest, didn't I?
I'm going to be 51 in July.
You're 1 month older than me.
Yeah, I was 24th.
God, if only it's August, you'll be my best friend.
We had the same name.
So
even more
74 then, 74.
Yeah.
But you was a year in front of me at school. Because I was the youngest in my year, you were probably the oldest in yours. No,
I
I've
was
got
the
that
youngest
wrong,
as
innit?
well. Yeah, I'm the youngest in my year.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
24th of July,
Yeah.
1974. Yeah.
God, they're only like a couple of weeks away from each other. 11th of August. I feel like I need to spoon him now. I don't know.
I'm going to leave.
I think we're definitely not going to do that.
So level 42 got me into playing bass.
Right, okay.
Mark King and all that.
Yeah, yeah,
So what
yeah,
got
like
you
that.
into music apart from your dad? My dad was never a performer.
See, I
He was a
used
funny
to...
fucker, but he wasn't a performer.
Yeah, I would say, even from a young age, I used to, this is what my mum and dad then told me, I used to be sitting, my dad was a Genesis fan, Phil Collins.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff, Peter Gabriel, the Police, you know, that kind of stuff. So he used to say that I used to sit in the back of the car just singing along to all the stuff in the car.
That's what my 8-year-old does now. It's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
and so it was pretty much a natural progression for me. And then I was in bands at school and all that kind of stuff. And then
Do you play an instrument or
I play
do you
piano,
sing?
so I'm a songwriter. So did that, and then got into doing pubs, clubs, holiday parks, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, literally. And then at the time, I was because I left college as a technical illustrator, so I did that. And then at the time, I was with a particular girl, and to the detriment of that and everything else, that I kind of jacked in doing what I was doing because all I'd ever known was being a singer. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I love to do. So I jacked in being a technical illustrator and doing all that kind of stuff to just sing. That was it. And went from what would have probably been a normal job as such to just doing what I loved. And that's all I've ever done.
See, I had my son at 20, so I stuck with a normal job and just drifted off for about 15 years and then came back.
Yeah, I think. See what you say what you like. I think financially, I've always done what I've enjoyed, and I've got various other stuff that I've done along the way, like other odd day jobs. But I've always been a performer. But I've got like a qualified personal trainer, a nutritionist. I've got loads of stuff that I've done health-wise because I'm all into health stuff. You know, I'm proper. I meditate every morning. I cold plunge and all that kind of stuff. So I'm
I love a cold plunge.
Yeah, I'm heavily into all that kind of weird and wonderful breath work. You know, anything like that. I read books on brain science, all sorts of stuff to do with the mind and body and stuff. I'm heavily into that.
Are you still a personal trainer now?
No. I just did it as a hobby. I just
fake waiter.
Yeah, fake waiter. I just did other stuff. Kind of as long. I even used to design and fit kitchens and bathrooms just as something because I enjoyed it. Yeah. So I've done loads of other stuff day wise, but I've always done gigs. Gigs has been pretty much my main profession all my life, and then done other little bits because I've enjoyed doing other little bits, and then I fell into doing the singing way, and then did the company. So from there, I mean it's full time because as you know when you run the business, there's so many other things you have to do, juggle and stuff.
Oh, you're not just the performer. You're the admin. The accountant. You're everything.
And I think in this day and age, like you say, with social media, it's a nightmare.
And I think, but looking back, I'm even and I never got into being a singer because I ever thought I was going to be rich. I mean, obviously, I've been a songwriter. I went to Nashville prior to COVID. I was doing like a event for meningitis out there. So I mean, I've always wanted to just do like theatre tours and like perform with my own music and stuff like that. But it was not necessarily going to be. I had a record deal years and years ago. I had a couple of songs played on Heart FM and that kind of stuff. But it obviously, didn't happen the way that it was meant to be. I look back and go, I'm not where I thought I was going to be. However, I've always performed and always, during COVID, I was stuck in my garage making tables. So I couldn't go out gigging. And I thought, people are working from home. What are they going to need? I don't know. I made desks. Yeah. So I made bespoke desks and sold them on Etsy. And I think I made about 1,500 desks during COVID. But coming out of COVID, I couldn't gig, so I mean, it felt like both my arms had been cut off. I mean, and then coming out, I was like, I had to get back to singing. I mean, I think certain things, like you say, playing the bass or, taking photographs, when you've got something which is kind of, it makes you who you are. I mean, I love performing. I absolutely love it with every bit of and when I'm performing, I don't know, it's just something about it. You can't put I couldn't do a normal 9 to 5 job. I couldn't not be a performer, because I've been a performer all my life, and it's just natural. Don't get me wrong, obviously.
It's creative.
When I first started, same as anything, you have to hone the skill. But like I say, when I rock up to a wedding, the way I am, the banter, all that kind of stuff. That second, that when people, especially for photography, they go, some of the stuff you come out with is like really funny. Like it's just off the cuff. But that's from years and years of playing like pubs, clubs, like holiday parks, doing abroad, where you're like stuck with audiences that literally you just want to shake, or you get hurled abuse, that it just becomes.
Yeah.
It just
you have a back catalogue of what you can say back.
And it just becomes like this, and it's you've honed the skill. It becomes a skill. So the banter's a skill. The way that you hold the crowd's a skill. The performance itself, the singing bit. It's kind of like. It's second nature. You don't even think of it. It's kind of it's not something you even focus on.
Kelly's really good at having the crowd, isn't she?
She is. Yeah. She's the same thing. The same performances, West End, all that sort of business.
Everything. As soon as she gets on stage, she has the crowd wrapped around her finger.
Yeah, I think you can't teach that.
No, you can't.
I think that
I've been with singers before. Got a beautiful voice, nothing to say in between songs.
Yeah,
and your band's not a success when it's.
And I think that's it. You get a lot of performers that tend to be like just hiding, like it's like they're holding an ice cream.
Well, I'm not being funny, right? Even the most successful ones, like we love Alanis Morissette, right? You go to one of her concerts, you close your eyes, you're listening to the album. She's that perfect. Her vocals are amazing. She's got nothing to say in between songs. Okay. Nothing to say in between songs.
But the fact that she is amazing, like you could listen to.
Apart from Hello and that, there's no. Love it a bit, but there's no sort of real personality in between songs. And
so I think it's because I used to do George Michael Manager, but George Michael was like phenomenal. But like same thing, you could, he wouldn't have to jump around like an idiot. You could just sing.
Exactly.
It's next level,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think with that kind of that in mind, obviously, performing, you can't teach that. I mean, I've worked with plenty of singing waiters that are very good singers and that, but they just don't have that.
You can't teach banter. Banter is something you earn. By getting the shit back. I was an apprentice. Do you know what I mean? Right. And when you're an apprentice, you're getting tied up, hung upside down. I went home from work with a ball and chain around my ankle, and they didn't take the bastard off.
No, it's
a different one. I've had a couple of them.
Two at that point.
So they put a ball and chain on me, right, at work when I was 17, right, and I thought by the end of the day they'd take it off. No, I didn't. I went home with it, came back the next day, and they took it off the next day. So I've been up this what is called a breast roll. So you go up this breast roll, and it's like a under 1 metre diameter roll. You travel all the way up it, and it's 5 metres long, and you're taking the bearing off that when you're 17 is so heavy you can barely handle it. And this breast roll, it's like a tube with loads of holes in it. While I'm doing that, they've got a hose dripping, and they know whereabouts I am in it. So they're dripping a hose over my head. So this fucking water's going on my head. I'm trying to get this bearing out, and I've got a ball and chain on. And that teaches you banter.
That teaches you. Well, I think it's that. It's from the context of performing, you're treading the balls, aren't you? You've got to do. As they say, there's no such thing as an overnight success. It's the same thing. You have to have been through it to have obtained, even from the likes of what you guys do, to obtain that level of expertise. Because I was having this conversation with a photographer the other day, that when you're then thrown a curveball, you just brush it off, or you deal with it a certain way. A bit like when I'm performing, if someone says something to me, I'm straight away like bam, and then I'll cut you down, mate. Trust me. There's not much you can say to me. But I'm on it. I'm fire. And I was saying to them, same thing, that's the difference when someone books you, and it's that personal touch. They're not just booking you for a particular thing. They're booking you because of that level of experience that compared to another photographer that's going to rock up, and all of a sudden if something happens, they're like fall apart. Whereas you're just like I got this. I'm on.
Or if it's raining, if it rains and the venue doesn't have very good indoor
Photography plays.
Yeah, scenes really.
So that's what we look at.
You have to really think quickly, and you think, right,
Outside the
it's raining
box.
now. What do I need to do? Right, I've got to do it. But you don't panic. You've just got to think logically and think, I've got 120 people now in this one room. I've got to do photos here. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. All in a split second. You've got to literally run through all these scenarios in your head in a split second.
But the other thing is, like you say,
as well.
the other thing is, like you said, though, you've done it enough times that you've obviously got a said protocol as well of how you work. A bit like my performance when I. Is yours
Oh, sorry.
not picking up?
1, 2. Is number 1 up? 1, 2. No, it's not, is it? Talk, Ray. Talk.
Hello.
Yeah, yours barely current. Sorry. No, we're all good.
Not picking
We're all
up.
good. No, it was picking up.
Not picking up. I was going to say, not picking up any of your funny lines.
It just sounded. I haven't got any.
No, I noticed. Yeah.
It just
I'm glad
You're
you
right,
said that.
you're right.
Glad you said that.
I just looked over and it was down. I was like, here we go. And you just sounded like you was in the distance. But
Well, you didn't he start by saying, I'm going to put this away?
Yeah, I know, but
More.
you just sounded like you won on there at all. Sorry about that.
There we go.
So what was we even talking about?
It's all right.
Some old bollocks.
So about that when you're doing your photographs, that you've obviously got to try and test a way of doing certain things.
Oh,
that,
that's right.
So
Yeah.
because of years' experience, you fall into that thing. So the same as when I'm doing my performance, I already know. You're only as good as the songs you pick and the audience. That's it. You've got those two. If the audience are great, you're great. If the songs that they've picked are great, they're great. But other than that, you can only work with what you've got.
Yeah.
But I know exactly where I'm going to put people. So I'll say to the photographer, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And I'm like, because that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do with the people. That's how it's going to work. And I'm going to keep pushing until that happens.
It's similar to us with karaoke. We do karaoke, and we tell them, look, it's like Marmite. You're either going to love this or hate this. We used to have karaoke written up on our banners, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you'll get people walk up and go,
No,
what's up
thanks.
that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we say to them, if your guests are up for it, it's going to be perfect. If
Yes.
they're not up for it,
Don't
we suggest
do
you don't do
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I have a similar conversation when people are booking me that not only have I explained to them that it's going to be carnage, that it's going to be that sort of like you need to have made sure that you have thought about the guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be an understanding that if you're, it's nice when you've got. Because you've always got that natural segregation between the bride side and the groom side. Always,
Yeah,
you're always going to get that with the family. So that's what what I do. It brings the two sides of the family. It brings that energy level together. And it kind of goes down really well, especially if one side's quiet and the other side's a bit lively.
Yeah. But you've also got them at the right time. They're just getting pissed.
They've had a few drinks.
They're just getting merry.
They've just had dinner,
and
so
the
they're
food's
happy.
keeping it off slightly.
They're
Well,
happy
I would say
they've
it's that lull point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the food, and it's that lull point where it suddenly gets a bit boring, doesn't it? And they don't know how long it's going to be till the evening bit.
They've had the
They're
wine on the
thinking,
table.
what's going
Speeches
on?
and
Yeah.
so they've just sat through maybe
So this is the question I should ask you. Whenever you've had singing waiters before, excuse me, do you prefer them to be after speeches or before speeches?
I don't really mind.
It doesn't matter to us because sometimes the couples decide to have a speech before they even eat these days.
Yeah, at the start of the meal.
Yeah.
Because I get couples that ask me and say, we don't know when we're going to have our speeches yet, we don't know.
Yeah.
And
I
some
think before
venues-
usually.
Yes, see, some venues will say to do them at the start.
Yeah.
And I normally chuck a curveball and say, if you do the speeches directly after me, even though you've got to settle the big S down,
Yeah.
from an energy level, if you imagine that
Bringing it down.
the bride and
Yeah.
groom have stood up, remember it like this, that the day's run, you've had the canapes, there's going to be a number of guests that don't eat the canapes.
Yeah.
And you're having they're like, oh, no, I don't want to spoil my dinner.
Yeah.
You're like, trust me, the food's not that great. And literally, they come in to eat their dinner, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh, hey, we've got speeches
Speeches,
now."
yeah.
Fuck.
And
the
everyone's
guests
like,
are
"I'm
like,
so
"Really? I was looking forward to
hungry."
my dinner." So then they're like, they're kind of like waiting for the speeches to end, aren't
Yeah.
they? They're kind of like, "Come on, hurry up!"
it, yeah.
Right? So it feels rushed.
You don't
from
want
an
to do
energy
it.
level.
They do it early because they're so nervous. They just want to get it out
See,
of the way.
so I say to them, if you're too nervous, you're not going to enjoy your food. Do your speech at the start.
Yeah.
If not, it's very difficult for you to give a speech to a cold room because
Yeah.
nobody knows you. Whereas if you do it after me, after everyone's jumped around like an idiot, and you've got Auntie Eileen swinging her knickers on the top table, and everyone, from an energy level, everyone feels together. Everyone tends to enjoy the speeches better.
Yeah.
Because
Is
everyone's
that what
kinda
you prefer then? You prefer to
that's
do
what
it
I suggest
after?
because
Yeah.
I think everyone's like, oh, I've just jumped around like an idiot. I can sit down now. I don't know what's going to be happening later. It's
Yeah.
not like they're kind of like preempting that the dinner's going to be served. So it's they can go, oh, we just had a really good jump around. Now we're going to enjoy the speeches.
Yeah.
We're going to have a bit more of a laugh now because they're more relaxed.
And I suppose if it's the other way around as well, and you have speeches, they're sitting down, they're like, right, okay, can I go to the bar yet? Can I do this?
Can I go to the
and
toilet?
then
And then you get up, you have a massive party basically, and then people are like, oh, I need to sit down now. Whereas the venue are going, we need you out of this room to turn it
and
around.
That, logistically, to do it just after speeches is almost impossible, because if you're walking around with a tray of cutlery, why are you going to be walking around with a tray of cutlery? Because the food's already kind of been cleared.
It'd be nice to actually pretend to start the speeches when you do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Is this an idea?
He probably does that.
Yeah, it's been done. It's been done before like that. Yeah, or sometimes it might be done where they've done a speech and then on a particular word you've got to come in. But even then, logistically, you've got to try and catch people. And also, again, some people want to get up and stretch legs, go outside, go to the toilet, and it's easy to keep people in the room once they're in.
Yeah,
it's very hard to bring them back in.
We're very similar when it comes to a group shot. So because
group shots,
everyone loves a bit of a natural photo, but they still always, even though they say we just want natural photos, they still always start then gathering people in.
Oh, can I just have this one?
Can we just have this? Of course. But we always do the group shot first, right? Especially in big venues, because these people start wandering off.
If you've got several different rooms to the venue as well, you have to go into like 8 different rooms to go, can I have this person? Can I have this person?
Yeah,
so we try and get
them all first and then start whittling it down, rather than going bride and groom and then get in the group at the end.
And the other thing I suggest for me to do it before speeches is, if, for instance, you've got a vast amount of people, say like over 100 people, and they've got like 3 different desserts, so the venue are taking a little bit long to serve desserts. It means that technically, if there's anyone that's eaten dessert and they've already left, we can kind of get the event person, whoever it is, around to call people back in and say, oh, just to let you know, we're doing speeches shortly.
Yeah.
Can you come back in? And everyone then comes back in again.
Yeah.
So then we've got a room full of people again. And then everyone's kind of waiting for speeches, and then obviously I fall over and then it all kicks off. So then you've got a room. It's, it's easy to do it when you've got a captive audience. That's why I always find after desserts, and I do say they can have it between mains and desserts or after desserts, but I generally always say after desserts, because when I worked for one of the other companies, they did it between mains and desserts. And the problem is then you run the risk of hindering timings for the kitchen. The chef gets robbed out, and especially if it's an arsehole chef, he might be like, oh, come on. Mistakes getting cold. No, the dessert's getting cold. So you've got to kind of like think of the venue. So I always say, do it after desserts. That way all the food's done.
Yeah, we're not
kitchen
waiting
can
on you.
go about their business, go home, do whatever. The staff can have a break, and then obviously apart from you guys, it means that you don't get a proper break. But you can have your cold dessert.
It's not that. It's not. I mean, we're not overly fussed.
It just means our hour and a half gets cut down to an hour. That's fine.
Yeah, and we still, even though we're getting food, we still take some food.
Yeah, we take.
I'm just going to go and change your battery. Swig, cheese. Let's go. baby bell, bit of coke, back on it.
That's our go-to wedding.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a wedding venue say no to you?
What, when I've turned up?
No, yeah.
No, not again.
Not again. You can help, but no.
When I worked for one of the other companies, there was one venue where they went, you can't do it in the wedding breakfast room because of the neighbours for the sound. So we had to do it after the first dance. So I had to gate crash the first dance.
Oh, right.
So they did the first dance, and then like a minute into it, I fell over near the side of the dance floor and kicked off then. Other than that, I haven't had any venues say no. I've had a venue since I've been doing my company where I've had a similar, I've had to do it first dance.
Yeah.
I think it's just trying to think of the venue, because they be the same again, because they're not allowed to have amplified music in there.
There are a few well-known venues that have rows with their neighbours, as we know.
Oh yeah. But no, I haven't had any that specifically go, no, sorry, you can't.
Have you had any weird requests? Like, I'm assuming the bride and groom get to pick the songs that you, or to a choice.
To a certain extent, because there's some that you've got to use, isn't there? Surely.
Well, I tend to. Unlike some other companies, I don't give them much.
We love slagging off other companies.
I keep saying I'm not going to mention anything. So technically, I'm not slagging you off. Is that
sign of insecurity? Carry on.
Is I find that if it works, it works. It's not broke, don't fix it. So I have a very limited song choice sets they can pick from. I've just made it a little bit because I've just had a new website done, actually. So I've now done it orchestrated so that it works slightly differently. However, it still works the way that it works. So first song will always be like the one that I get everyone up. Second song's like a residual straggler to get the few up that decide they want to get on the first song. Third song's a conga. Fourth song's dance off. Fifth song's sing off. Sixth song's napkin wave. Seventh song finale. So every song has a purpose. So when I get them to pick the sets, each set runs that way.
Has a, like,
and then if they don't like song
selection.
3,
So you can select this section, this section, this section.
and that's what I've done now for the new website. They can pick an opener, a conga, a dancer, and then pick one from each. Whereas beforehand, I gave them 7 sets, and then for instance, they didn't like song 3, which happened to be a conga. They picked song 3 from a different set. So that way, every set still works the same.
Yeah, it's got the same sort of.
Yeah, but so the songs will work a certain way, and so they've got some songs. There is still a fair few songs they can pick from, but yeah, certain songs will work and certain songs won't. And like you say, you will get the majority of the weddings where people will ask for or pick Sweet Caroline or Mr. Brightside.
Especially if there's a football match near there, and
but those songs work.
Yeah.
They work for a reason. It's the same as pretty much most weddings. I will normally do Proud Mary because it's a great dance song.
Yeah.
It got some great.
My son loves that song.
but it's got some great choreography in it, and it gets people involved, and people like the fact when I do what I do that it doesn't drift. It's not kind of like done the first song, what we doing, you carry on dancing for the next 3 songs. I tend to kind of orchestrate the room like sheep. I move everyone around and say, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this whether you like it or not. And it kind of marries better because then that way they've always got something.
Yeah.
And then from a photo point of view, it's the same. I mean, how many pictures can you take of people just standing there just waving their arms in it? There's only so many, isn't there?
That's what we say to them. They say, can we have you for a few more hours after the first dance? And I say, you can, but your photos are going to start looking exactly the same.
Unless there's
I can film for 3 hours
anything like that,
and use 5 minutes of it because there's only so much dancing and prancing. So don't waste your money too much,
So no, they pick the songs, but they have to, obviously, it still flows a certain way.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, you are going to get a majority of times an overlap of songs because certain songs work better than others. It's the same with openers. I had a conversation with someone the other day and they said, they were like, it was the photographer. He said he'd seen Singing Waiters beforehand, and he said, "What are you opening with?" I said, "Oh, Don't Stop Me Now." He was like, "Oh, God." I said, "Everyone knows." I said, "Yeah, but then it's how you then get the people up." I said, "I'll be up on the chairs." I said, and I make sure everyone's up by the end of the song. I make sure I'm like, come on, I want to see every single person up, and everyone will get up. If not, the second song will have everyone up. That's but it's a great song. It's a great opener.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Robbie Williams. I mean, Let Me Entertain You is another one that is another open. We do Don't Stop Me Now. We got Don't Stop Me Now, Let Me Entertain You, Shut Up and Dance, The Greatest Showman. That's Amore. That's the main openers. But I mean, Robbie Williams would walk out on stage and open with Let Me Entertain You because that's the opener.
Yeah.
Certain songs denote that's the level of. I suppose it's more like that you could say, you can have any song you like, but there's got to be an expectation. I suppose it's a bit like with what there's an expectation that what they're booking is, you're meeting a certain expectation. And when someone looks at my stuff and everyone's just going completely Gary, to achieve that level of carnage has to be done a certain way. So you can't go, we'll open with Unchained Melody.
No. That's the problem.
Not going to work,
I usually do the set list for my band, you know what I mean? And at the end, we go, right, we're going to do a Christmas number 1 for you now. And they go, oh, what? And we play Killing in the Name of. That Rage Against the Machine. And they go absolutely mental for it. Do you know what I mean?
But that's another thing, because you've done with your band and other stuff like that, you've done something for a certain period of time. You know what works and what doesn't work.
You know which songs belong where in the set.
And this is so you understand that there's a particular protocol, there's a particular order. So I run it a certain way because
I didn't do it.
I did it again. I need bloody mic again.
I was
you're gonna be out.
Oh, God.
And I find that so. Even though someone might go, so one of my friends, who's also a singer, he'd said, because you do offer like very limited. I said, yeah, but isn't it better that if you were coming to do a gig,
you're in control
that
of it,
you know that all the songs are bangers.
Yeah.
Because when I'd worked for the others previously in security, that you'd be given a set and you go, fucking, I'm going to do that.
I've got to learn 8 of these.
And to be quite fair, don't get me wrong, if a bride and groom, if there's a song and a bride and groom particularly want a particular song, there was one recently, the bride wanted a specific song, and I said, right, so we can troubleshoot the set together. That particular song that you'd like, has it got a relevance?
Yeah.
If it's got a relevance, I mean, if it's a family favourite or the granddad danced in the kitchen to it and it's got a memory, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to have that same thing. I did one where they asked for ABBA. I'm not an ABBA fan. And what ABBA one do you want to go? Or I have a dream. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I said, there we go. But I asked why, and they said, because as girls we used to all sing along to it. We when we were really young. We did it on the hen weekend.
Yeah.
I was brilliant. Did it. All the bridesmaids, I got all the bridesmaids in a row to do like a sing thing anyway. But all of the women were joining in singing. All the family was singing it. You're just thinking,
this works.
Is epic. This. If you close your ears for a second, you wouldn't even think it was ABBA.
Yeah.
It was that good from the visual. And I was like, so if I'd said no, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I would have been struggling with a different song. Instead, you picked a song which has a particular relevance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked it, but we'll go with it.
My band had a gig at the Orangery once.
Only once. Wedding let you back again.
We don't do
very
that
much.
many wedding gigs because
You're not
I'm
wedding.
bloody filming. You know what I mean? They're like, can you do this? It's a wedding gig. No, once, right? Once I was filming a wedding and they said, can you do a gig? I said, no, I'm filming that day. It was the same pissing wedding. I could have done it. That's how bad our communication was. So I could have literally filmed and then gone and gigged straight at exactly the same wedding.
Oh, you sang at our wedding, didn't you?
I sang, yeah. But they wanted chasing cars, right?
Yeah, it's natural.
Okay, right. So we played it. And then they just all laid. If I lay here.
Oh,
They were
right,
just-
they let it-
the whole lot of them just laid on the ground.
Wow.
We're like, what is going on here? Some rugby thing it was.
Wow.
They just all laid on the ground. Every one of them.
Wow.
And we're looking at each other, what? But that's why they wanted it.
I remember doing one of the other companies where it was the song that had been picked. Yeah, I think that was some sort of chant, kind of like a rugby chant or something like that. And the bride picked it and said, "Oh yeah, because my dad loves it, and he's gonna want to sing." So literally, I purposely kind of like got out and he was thinking, "I don't want to sing," but him and the bride, they both had this like
Little
duet.
moment.
Yeah.
And the singing was terrible, but that wouldn't have
Sometimes
happened.
it don't matter.
No, it didn't. It made no difference because everyone loved it and the video fulfilled it. And you just think, what a moment.
Yeah.
That, if that song hadn't been in the set, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
And she's got that moment filmed for the rest of her life.
She might have asked the DJ later to play it, and it wouldn't have been the same.
No.
It wouldn't have been the same. And it's that. So you've got to err on the side.
Yeah, you've got
like
ask
you said.
the question, like
Yes.
you say.
Yeah.
Ask the question,
Yeah,
because
'cause
sometimes it's just, I just like it.
Yeah.
You go,
and then you're like, nah.
Yeah,
it won't work.
I got asked to do Wifey at a gig, and I was like, it's not really a way to set a song. And I explained why. And I said, the thing is, I said, what you may like, I said, because you've got to think you're booking it as a surprise for the group of guests, or you're booking it's for the guests. So you want to get everyone involved. If you pick songs where no one knows the songs, the only person that's going to like it is you.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we say about karaoke.
Yeah, it's not going to work in the way that you expect it to work. And also, like we just said from the expectations, you're looking at something and going, wow, that's amazing. I want that at my wedding.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, this is how it's going to work. These are the songs that I think you should pick off the basis of the set you've picked. This is going to be all. Then you go, oh, can we do such and such and such and such and such? And all of a sudden, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
A bit like, I suppose, then coming to you and saying, I want my pictures to look like this on the beach. And you're not getting married in the woods. Yeah, and I think, and it's that. It's meeting the expectation.
Yeah.
So by limiting the song choice, it means that you're eliminating the obstacles of basically saying, well, this is exactly what you're expecting from me.
Yeah.
My reviews say this, my Instagram says this. So if you want that at your wedding, then really you're going to have to,
me,
and especially if it's been booked as a surprise, say for instance, the mum's booked it.
Yeah.
And I would say to them, pick the songs, but just give me that professional courtesy that on the day, if I want to tweak it, I look at the crowd and I think, do you know what?
Yeah.
do you know
Chuck
what?
this
Half
in,
the time
that's
they probably haven't remembered that they asked.
Sometimes, no. But
Have you ever had any really weird requests, like someone's asked you to like learn an African song or some random really
no, I got
weird?
asked to learn Mardi Bum before. You know Mardi Bum song?
Oh, yeah. Mardi Bum.
That was by
Not a clue.
It's by Thingies, Monkeys.
That's it?
Arctic Monkeys.
Arctic
Mardi Bum, I'm in trouble again, aren't I? Thought as much. I've seen a string quartet play at a wedding, and it was amazing. They did Mardi Bum at a wedding.
And this was on a thing where they basically...
no disrespect to them, they're all plus 50. It's all orchestra, and they're doing Mardi Bum.
I think you're thinking, wow.
Wicked.
And I think, I got asked it, and this was another one that got put on the thing saying that the groom is his favourite song, he's going to sing it. And I went, oh, Clive. I remember his name, Clive. This was years ago. Clive, you're going to... He was like, no. I'm so glad I learned it. I was like... And obviously, because I used to do with Michael and Wham tribute, I've got a ridiculously high voice. I'm for Frankie Valli, and I've got a very breathy sounding voice. So I've got a girlier sounding voice, should I say? Marley Bum, you've got to have an accent for starters and all that kind of stuff. Even
Yorkshire accent.
Even professionally myself, I was like, I'm gonna annihilate this song. This is gonna be executed. It's gonna be terrible, absolutely terrible.
So it's like Park Life.
Oh God! And lucky enough, I was getting people to sing it, and I was kind of there. So I got away with it.
Yeah.
But even me, I was like,
see, we play dance floor. Bet you look good on the dance floor, and I'm the prick shouting, "Cold in the night." You don't. And they go, "Why are you doing it in Yorkshire accent?" Well, you got to do it in the Yorkshire.
And you're normally the one in Teenage Dirtbag. You're the girl. But then you joke with the crowd and go,
we usually get someone up. I open nuts and sing that, but we usually get someone up to sing that bit. Oh, Rachel, is that strike two?
Again?
Did you have a strike two?
No.
I think you did.
So I had a strike. I had a strike one.
He just wants some dirty story from you.
You had strike two.
So dirty. You said it was going to be dirty.
That's only secrets you got, dirty ones. Right, should we get on to some questions? Now we have this here.
Oh, would you write some questions?
So we get you to pick out 3 or 4 of these.
These are random.
The thin ones are new today.
So we don't know what they are.
So ChatGPT has asked you these questions, and I purposely don't read them. I just print it off, cut them, and don't read them.
Do you use ChatGPT so much? I'm going to have to ask you
I'm
this.
dyslexic, and it's great for me. It's great for me.
Because I've only been using it recently, and it's amazing, isn't it?
I use it for work.
Yeah, I hadn't used it until literally because I've had a new website done, and I've been doing blog pages.
Yeah.
For venues that I play, and the guy that helped me do the website, and he was the one that suggested it and said about that stuff. And I have to say, phenomenal. That my other previous website looked really good, but didn't have all the SEO as the keyword stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
The new website, it's only been up and running like nearly 3 weeks, and I'm already like on the first page for everything singing away. It's first page already. Phenomenal, but. For doing the blog stuff, so he was doing it and then showed me what the baseline. Obviously, it's more to do with the amount of information you give it, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I used it, and
as it gets better, it learns about you. I said,
you can.
It said, "Do you want me to tell you about yourself?" And it said this the other day. Do you want me to tell you about you? And it was spot on. It was like after I don't know, however long have I used it for? A year?
Oh wow!
After a year of knowing me, it said what I'm into and what.
But what I do is
you're like, oh, don't tell me why.
delete that one.
So I quickly burned the hard drive and
move on.
But what I find as well, I use it a lot for work because I work for the NHS, so I use it a lot for work. And you can go back, if you've got your history on, you can go back to a conversation that you're having and carry that on. So say, right, it's been 2 weeks now, I need another form of this, but blah, 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 blah.
I did that today.
Yeah.
So I said, do you remember those questions I asked you to do for the podcast? He went, yeah, I do. Do you want any more?
Yeah.
I went, yeah, give me 20 more. Whacked out 20 more. I printed it off and just cut them.
So
but I tell you, this is what I do on this podcast, all right? Because when it comes to this podcast, I'm as lazy as arseholes, right? I don't want to do any...
You're selling somebody good like this, right?
I edit enough. I don't want to be spending time editing a podcast. So what I do is I immediately, once I've edited this, I upload it to YouTube, right? And then I wait for a bit, and YouTube comes up with a transcript of what's been said, right? And then I'll copy and paste that transcript into ChatGPT and say, right, give us a title, description and everything. Yeah. And it even gives us a timestamps as well. And it knocks it all out in one go for me.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
It takes out a good 3 days' work into about 20 minutes.
Oh, easily. And like, even if there's an email stream that's going on, someone's asked for a quote, I don't know, for some sort of award ceremony or something, and then they've changed their mind with a few bits. I copy and paste the whole email stream, put it in there, and that thing knows what's going on more than I do. And I go, right, I send them a reply saying, yeah, we can do that, but we might have to alter this bit. And it's spot on nearly every time. Of course, I read it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad you put that bit in there.
But,
you saw that.
But it's very rare that I have to correct it. Or I say, just bring it down a bit. It's a bit too formal, do you know? And sometimes, in its early days, you say, bring it down a bit. And you go, hey, dude. Not that much, Jesus. I'm not Nelson.
Yeah, I was going to say, all my emails, I put yo. When I speak to a venue, I do it. And the same bit, it just makes people laugh. Because they're like, they know it is straight away.
Yeah.
It's more that. It's that, you know. But no, because I've only literally just been using it. And I was like, amazing, absolutely amazing. The stuff. So like on my previous website, I had a bit about Nelson, and it's got like this write up, and so I put that into the chat and just asked it to adjust it. And this stuff that I was like reading it, going, God, that's amazing. This is what it's saying about me based on what I put in Plus Mixer and the way that it worded it and everything. It's like, that's phenomenal. I booked myself.
If you put UK, give me a UK version, because sometimes it goes into American, and sometimes the words.
Yeah, I only told mine that this morning. Yeah. So from now on, give it a UK English for you, because I don't even pick up on that, the Z instead of the S.
Finalise with a Z and stuff like that. So you have to really read it and change it. So if you just say UK version,
I was quite impressed. I've used it for like Instagram and other stuff like posts and stuff like that. Which sometimes I was like taking ages to, like we were saying about the social media thing, which is one of my pets is doing the stuff on Instagram. That some of the posts now I can then write on Cherrywood, and it's so much easier because that's some of the stuff that I then.
There's some things it's crap at, right? One of them is I've wrote a kids book before, and I sent it the whole kids book. I said illustrate the pages. I'll tell you what the pages are. Illustrate them for me, and it comes up with these pictures. But say a girl's sitting on a bed in the first scene, and then she's looking in her drawer in the bedroom in the second scene. The bed, blankets, and style of the bed completely changes. And I go, no, you dickhead. Because I talk to it like it's a piece of shit, right? I go, no, you dickhead. Look, the beds are too... Oh, I'm really sorry about that, Simon. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. And it does it again. It can't grasp it. Cannot grasp it. What else couldn't it grasp? I told it... Because in lockdown, when I had no weddings, I wrote a comedy, right? And she rolls it. I bet she's rolled her eyes. So I wrote a comedy, and it's on Amazon Prime now, this comedy. But I wish I had it back then, because I would have done the same thing. I would have put it on YouTube, got the whole transcript and said, do the synopsis for this. You know what I mean? And it would have wrote it far better than my attempt to do that sort of thing. But if you say, I want you to write a comedy, I want you to write it about this guy and this guy, one of them does this, one of them does that, it is shite. Nothing is funny. Yeah. Nothing's funny.
And it doesn't...
Because it's trying to be politically correct at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And comedy, unfortunately, isn't politically correct.
Because we asked it once to write a letter of divorce to each other's lawyers. Not that we were getting divorced, we were just joking around.
But it gave us advice on like, counselling.
If you need help, I won't do this for you, but if you need help, really? I can do this, this, and this.
We had a guest on, didn't we? We had a Canadian guest on, and he said, if you said to it, what's the word? What's the word? I ain't going to remember it, and it's just a basic word because I'm a dickhead. I've forgotten now. But if you say hypothetically, so if it says, no, I really can't do that, you say, but hypothetically speaking, I'm not actually going to do it, but just tell me. And they go, oh, right, if it's hypothetically speaking, then you should do this. You should murder him with this. And
really?
So if you use hypothetically.
Yeah, just say, but hypothetically speaking, then it usually usually get round it. Anyway, back to the question. Back to ChatGPT. We've got ChatGPT. We interviewed it on one podcast. Yeah. Me, Rachel, and ChatGPT.
Really?
And we even said, "How do you want to be represented?" And it was like a robot. Yeah, and so we had it on the TV.
Of it looked like a male, but he was made of all like.
It was like a robot male.
It was made of all
metal
code. Had coding all round it.
Interviewed chat.
Yeah, on a full podcast, full on hour.
Yeah, it was good.
We're going to do it with Musk's one, because his one has got no boundaries.
Grok. Yeah, Grok.
He's got his own one called Grok.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. We'll do it with his. We're going to have about 4 questions.
It's a new one.
Yeah,
it's a new one.
That's why I purposely picked a new one. Okay.
We're getting bored with the old ones.
If animals could talk, which one do you think would be the rudest?
Oh, that's random.
God, that's a crap question, isn't it? ChatGPT's shit, isn't it?
We just said how good it was.
I know. That's why I said chat. That's why.
Should we begin? I don't know if that's animals could talk. Which one would you think would be the rudest?
It's got to be like an ant or something, isn't it? Like that.
Why would an ant be rude?
Because you'd stepping on them all the time.
Well, it wouldn't talk then, would it?
It just sounds like it's got a social disposition. I don't know if it's going to be rude.
Right, okay. Right, maybe these thin ones are crap.
Yeah, maybe you should have looked at them beforehand.
What would your autobiography be titled?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh. Insecure.
Probably. It's a be a performer, you have to be partly.
All performers.
Yeah.
We all get that
I couldn't
moment.
do your job. I think if you said to me stand up
I
and
couldn't do
sing,
my job.
I would actually break out in hives. I don't think I could perform like that.
I don't get nervous on the stage, but what happens to me is I feel like my memory's going to go on learning what I've learned.
Right.
That even though I played it, and I don't even think about it half the time, especially with a newer one. You know, you've done a newer song, I'm thinking, am I going to remember this? But once it's on, it's on.
Do you think if you think about it, you mess it up?
It's overthinking.
If you mess it up, then it sometimes escalates into a bit of a panic. But like I've performed in front of 6 and then 6,000, and it doesn't bother me being on the stage in front of people.
So I couldn't think of anything.
It's just that sort of ball up, and then you're like, am I going to do another ball up? Am I going to balls it up again? Do you know what I mean? And you get, or the whole band has gone off a bit, and then you look at the drummer going, how are we going to get this one back?
I think the other thing from a performance side of you, I think sometimes the less amount of people is harder than the more.
100%.
And I think, because obviously, because you're overcritical, because I've done, a number of thousand people as well. I remember doing, I think it was the gay pride thing. I was George Michael track through, and there was thousands of people down Ramsgate somewhere, and it was, I found it, I was and it was loads of people you couldn't see for people. And it didn't really, obviously I was still nervous, but then I've done care homes where it's been like 5 people. And it's so nice for personal, but you can actually...
You can focus on all 5 of them. Yeah. You can't focus on all 5,000.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the other thing is, you balls up, they ain't got a clue. It's like you've only ballsed up from what you guys had planned to do.
Yeah. Because you come off stage and you go, oh my God, did you see my mistake?
She's like, no.
But that's being human as well, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, to be quite fair, I mean, the amount of weddings I've done where sometimes I forget the lyrics to songs that I've sung God knows how many times. I like, you're like, oh, God, I've sung that song about a zillion times.
And you literally have a mental blank.
And it will, something like that.
It does happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is just that sometimes, if it's blatant, you just got to own up and laugh.
Yes.
The thing is, you're not getting... You ain't got a record deal. You're just having a laugh and you're playing these things for people. And sometimes they find it funny when you do it.
I remember doing Wonderwall and starting a bar early, and then literally it coming in with a bit and then going, well, at least I'm not miming.
Yeah.
You do, because it's funny.
Yeah.
But then that is that I think, you do, like you say you couldn't do my job, but then I probably couldn't do your job. Everyone's got their thing, or their niche, or their thing that there just happens to be a skill set which you can do or have done for so many years that one, it becomes second nature. So even when you are doing it, everyone looks upon it and goes, which I'm sure you get, they go, that was quite easy. Yeah, trust me now. You may think it is.
There's many amazing photographers that wouldn't go anywhere near weddings.
Yeah.
And the same with videographers, because you get one go. Right. I got a videographer mate, and he would hate it. He likes the fact that he got takes, and I found that comedy a luxury. Sit back, I could do it again. What do you mean? I can film this scene again? Do you know what I mean? But weddings, one go.
You only get, you only get
especially
the one
ceremony
chance.
and speeches.
Yeah,
you can't say, "Oh, sorry, can you do that again
for us?"
But then I say that, but then you then do that. So like you said, you find it hard to do my job. There's people that obviously go, "Oh, yeah, I could do that," and you go, "You couldn't do it because I just make it look easy."
Yeah.
However, you do get a number of people who go, I couldn't do that. Yeah. There's no way I could do that.
I've never even done karaoke before, let alone standing up in front of 100 people singing.
That is life, though, isn't it? Some people make things look so easy. You think, I can actually do that. I could drop kick like that, I reckon. And
then you try and you're like, am I?
The other thing is that's nice because then that shows some people then value what you do more, don't they?
Yeah,
because they look upon it and go, because the couple I did on Sunday, they're such a lovely couple, but they'd done their ceremony, they came in from their ceremony and I greeted them, and sometimes I don't speak to the bride and groom until after, just so that I don't get seen. But these ones, they had their ceremony, they came into the venue to cool down before they went for the receptions. I was chatting to them, I was like, and then they were like, because we're definitely not extroverts, so can you not pick us up? And we'd already spoken about it, and I said obviously, if you don't want to get involved to start with, you can designate. I'll mention it, and then you can designate people to do the stuff, and then you can join in. And they said that, and they go, and he even said, I couldn't do what you do. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to do that. That's my job.
He's a computer analysis or something.
And I'm like, that's my job.
Yeah.
But then that does then make the difference between when you're doing, like you just said with the AI thing, when you're doing other things, you just think, God, I've read it. I don't want to sit and do this. I'd much rather shoot myself in the face. I'd much prefer to be on a chair conducting a crowd than I would be sitting here
and I replying
to emails or doing admin, anything admin related. And it comes with every business, doesn't it? I I find it so hard to get my head around doing admin. I really do. I don't like it. I don't like doing emails. I don't do it. You have to do it, don't you? But you're just like, I don't do it.
So what would your biography be called? That was the question.
I like the insecure bit, but
what about like man that can't be moved?
That's a song, isn't it?
Yeah. The
Script.
man that can't be moved.
Script, isn't it?
There you go. Just
You're in a band. You know the song, the script.
You'll be surprised what songs I don't know. Yeah, and I'm one of those people that I know no lyrics. So I fall in love with the tune.
Yeah.
You get people that fall in love with the tune, you get people that fall in love with the lyrics.
I'm the lyrics.
And then you get the odd person that likes a bit of both.
Yeah.
For me, it's 100% tune. Yeah. You'll be surprised what shit I thought Prince used to sing.
I'm sitting there in the car
Wax
with
Lyrical
him.
Girl, Raspberry Beret. I thought was Wax Lyrical Girl.
I'm sitting there going,
What does that even mean?
I'm sitting there going, what are you singing? He went,
But I could
Wax
play the
Lyrical
tune.
Girl.
I could play the tune. So that's with backing. I'm like, oh shit, I've actually got to learn this to do the backing.
I used to get people that normal geese that used to say, "Can you remember the lyrics to such and such?" And I'd be like, "No." As soon as the tune starts,
Yeah.
you know what the lyrics are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it amazes
Because,
me. Like Kelly in our band, she knows the lyrics to everything. Everything.
She's got a little
And there's
iPad
another
there, but she
geezer.
never uses it.
You ever heard of the LKG trio? You probably haven't. It's a trio, and obviously it's a trio. And their singer knows the words to everything. I know the words to nothing.
Yeah, I think I know.
Or
about,
you just make up.
How white my legs are, Jesus!
I think I know about 4,500 songs. You're not my mic again. That's 3, isn't it?
I know. Here's my story. Here's my story. My story is
I
don't know the lyrics to any songs.
I think I know about 4,500 songs.
Wow.
But then I've been a singer a long, long time.
Yeah.
I've sung a lot of songs.
It's a bit like karaoke as well. People say, I know that song. They don't. They know
Never
the chorus.
know the chorus.
Yes.
They
don't
only
know
know
the
the chorus. They never know the verses. Drives me insane.
That's a bit like when I do the sing-alongs, and I say to Brian when they're picking certain songs, and then I say, oh, you pick that. That's going to be a dance, or that's going to be a sing-off, and I'll be like Wonderwall, and then you'll go to put the mic, and everyone knows the chorus.
Yeah.
No one else knows the verses.
Well,
Sex on Fire, exactly the same. No one knows the verses. Everyone knows the chorus.
Yeah.
And it is. That's it. Even if it's their favourite song, sometimes it'd be like, I'll be like, you don't know the words, do you? Or you'll go around the crowd. I'll go around the crowd because I'll put it in most people's faces. And even aged, you can look at someone and you can say, you should know the words to this.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, come on, you must.
Frankie Valli.
Like, no. I was one lad the other day. I think I was doing. I can't even remember what song. It was Wonderwall, I think. And it was like, and he's like, that. And I'm like, come on, you must know the words. Come on, you look
amazing,
like,
isn't it?
You look like at the age you don't know the words, and you don't know the words, and it is. But then that stems again, isn't it? It depends on what people are into.
Yeah.
It depends on one. Not everyone likes all types of music. Even from a musician's way. I
like all genres, but I never get fixed on an album. Do you know what I mean? I just get fixed on the odd one, like I say, based on the tune, the beat.
Yes. Yeah, I'll sing anything, but there's certain music that I'll listen to, or that for instance, I love Sting. I mean, Sting, absolute from a songwriter. I love Sting. Yeah, I love George Michael. Anything lyric,
Listen Without Prejudice. Funny enough, is one of the best albums I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a really good album.
See, our son, because obviously he's very rocky and I'm very poppy, our son's he has such a wide range of music. He will sit there.
Does that count?
That's 4.
I'm moving it. You have to tell your story in a minute.
He'll sit there and sing ABBA, Queen, anything like that, won't he?
My editing office is next to his bedroom. So he'd be playing, and without realising, he's learning everything I keep playing back.
Yeah.
Especially if I've got a karaoke on and I'm playing the one song. He's in it.
He loves it. Absolutely.
Word for word. Without even realising he's learned it.
How old is he?
8.
Wow. I think that's the thing.
Did we get an answer about the
You didn't even ask the question.
No.
Right, okay.
Biography,
Flange box. I don't know.
Or is that what yours would be?
It's got to be something good, isn't it?
I think mine would be sorry. Because I would
That's all you say.
sorry all the time.
She starts off every reply on a text message with sorry.
Or he.
We rise by lifting others. That's my motto.
What do you want it?
We rise by lifting others.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I use that line all the time. I say to people, I say, I'm a strong believer in if you help enough people and you just kind of like,
100%.
you're just nice to people. And as we said, you kind of go out your way to a degree, I think.
And it annoys her sometimes. I go out my way to be nice to people, and it annoys her.
Yeah, I have to say
there's a certain line, and sometimes you do cross it, and I'm like, you don't need to do that. I'm nice, don't get me wrong, and I will help anyone out, but yeah, there's a line, and you cross it sometimes. Sounds about right. That's your bio. There's a line, you crossed it.
Sometimes helping people, though, I mean, then sometimes it backfires that maybe you shouldn't have bothered.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
That's happened
like
so many times.
If you hold a door open and someone just walks through and you go, you're welcome.
Yeah, that happens a lot, yeah. Yeah, but Karina, my wife, she's over the years, we've been together like 20 odd years now, 21 years, I think. And I say she was the amount of people I've helped in years gone by, and it's been to my detriment.
Yeah.
But then you still do it. But it's because it's the way you are. You can't do much about that. And then that's kind of that makes you who you are. And you have that. I'm sure you do have those conversations as couples where you do certain things, and you can't really change certain things about you. That's the way you are. And if obviously that person, Karina being the one who has bought me for me, and that's it. There is no.
I know.
The fact I've got no memory whatsoever. You need to buy into that.
Yeah, I use that to my advantage.
But there's certain things which obviously, like you say, because no one's perfect, so it's the imperfections that make you who you are and make you who you are to that person.
Absolutely.
There's lots of things. I'm definitely not perfect, and
I mean, the amount of people that say to me, "How do you put up with him?" I'm like, it's just me. Of course I do. All the time.
Come on then, what's your story? Come on.
I don't know. What do you want to know?
It's got to be something.
Got something really. Well, I find it really embarrassing.
Wait. Oh. Is it about me?
No.
Because that's not fair, otherwise.
That's not fair about you, is it?
I could do that one about you, where our first night in our first house.
No. That's embarrassing for you.
Well, this is what it's got to be, innit? Embarrassing for me, innit?
It's got to be embarrassing story about yourself.
So obviously we've been together for 7 months, a year, something like that.
Was that going to be because before you just said that, there was going to be another embarrassing? You just said.
Yeah, the other one ain't that great. I just always thought butchers and fishmongers were the same thing. And once I went into a fishmonger. I went into Butchers and asked for some fish, and they were like, "You need a fishmonger for that."
No, that's
crap. At the time, I was like...
Sounds like a joke.
No, at the time, I was like, oh, right, okay. And I walked out and thought, they must have thought you was a complete and utter dickhead. Yeah, I just thought they were the same thing because they looked the same, didn't they? You remember about the old ones? They used to look the same. Just thought they sold fish and meat in the same place. Anyway, that was that one.
That doesn't count. That's crap.
Yeah, but I'm embarrassed about that. I still live on that. And that was like 30 years ago. Yeah, that's the thing is, I was 19. I should have known by then, but you don't know until you know, I suppose. Anyway, so our first house we bought together, the first night that we slept, we didn't even have the beds. Everywhere. We didn't have the beds made up. We were just on a mattress, and we was in the spoon position, and I dreamt that I'd used a urinal, and woke up to what the.
He basically
pissed out the crack of her ass.
Oh no!
On the first night in our new house, we were like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
And yes, I am still with him.
I've not done it since. I don't think, have I? No. It's been a good 15 years. Not bad one though. The chicken found that funny.
You got chickens? We said that earlier, and said you got chickens.
Yeah, we've got 3 chickens. I used to have 10, but I'm fed up with fox keep eating them.
So why did you get chickens?
We've got a bit of a farm atmosphere, haven't we? We've got a massive field out the back, and the kids were up for it. She was up for it. They pestered me into it. And then when they all got killed, I bought some more for them, and they went, well, they're yours now. We haven't got to look after them.
No, you didn't buy them for us.
Bastards.
You didn't buy them for us. We looked after the ones that you got over and over and over again, and we said, no more. And you went, oh, guys, I got 5 more.
Why did we? No. You've started saying that. Why did we buy chickens?
Because me and the kids wanted them. But then we said no when the last lot died and the fox literally took them from the coop.
The last set we bought 10 and they lasted 10 hours.
Yeah.
It bit through the mesh.
Yeah.
The mesh that we had for a year, it bit through it and then killed them all within 10 hours.
Yep.
All 10 chickens?
It kills them for fun.
If it decapitates them and leaves the body there,
Just done it
that's
for
for fun. If he takes the whole thing, he's eaten.
But in fairness, that day, it took them all to eat.
Yeah, it did take them all to eat.
10
'Cause
chickens?
It was March time, so
Wow.
they were literally coming out of hibernation, I'm assuming.
Right.
So,
Yeah, when it's colder, they're running low on food.
So I said to him, no more. So he said, oh, okay. And then next day, turns up with
six.
five.
5, and then 2 got done in front of us in broad daylight.
Yeah.
You never really see a fox in broad daylight out here, but 2 of them got done. And those 3 I thought were killed. So I didn't even shut the coop. I thought they've all gone, and they had hidden in a bush.
Yeah. So
and then
they
someone
are
went,
like-
your chickens are outside your coop waiting to be
That was
put in-"
me.
Oh, was it you? Yeah. I went, bloody hell, I thought
No,
they
you
were
ain't got good memories.
I thought they were all killed. And
so I
no,
had to
so
go
we've
and
still got
chase
3 surviving, and they're doing all right, these 3. They give us 3 eggs a day, and they have them, even though they're my chickens, they have the bloody eggs. Out of order, isn't it, now?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a low blow, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
You're going to start charging us for the eggs.
Oh, here we go. Have that one.
Is that a good one?
This is your last one, because you talk too much.
Have you ever had a supernatural or unexplained experience? I would say yes, but it's a weird one. So I've been vegan 10 years now.
I'm
For any
surprised you didn't
reason?
mention that straight away on the podcast, because most of you do. You usually
they say that
I'm
about
surprised you didn't do it there.
Then they do that about vegans.
I'm Nelson, I'm vegan, and I'm also...
I love the way you just slagged off all the
But
vegans.
that's that joke, isn't it? They say,
They do.
say, if it's a vegan, they'll
You
tell
know.
you.
Yeah. The room goes silent, and someone goes, I'm vegan.
So, because that's what happens whenever I go to a wedding venue. I won't mention it until I generally say something in the kitchen, so that the chef will then slag off the vegans and the vegetarian. So I say, those people with dietary requirements, they're cool. And he'd be like, fuck yeah, do you know what? He goes, yeah, go have this one, right? And he'd be like, yeah. I'm down for the vegan option, all right? And they'd be like, oh, fuck it. And we always say it. So, not that I don't look like some sort of hippie vegan anyway. That's why somewhere in the, as you were saying earlier, somewhere in the baseball cap, so I'm in disguise because I've got a top knot normally, so everyone notices, makes me more notice. And I thought due to the amount of subscribers and viewers that you get.
I don't remember the top knot from the wedding awards.
There you go, see?
Can't remember.
So the amount of people that you know, from your subscribers and your viewers, you know, just to keep
Just
it,
in
keep
case,
it, keep it on the low,
Disguise.
so in disguise.
It could be like Guess Who?
Yeah.
Has he
Because
got
that'd be
a...
then say to
It'd be
me,
hilarious if you went to a wedding and he goes, that's that vegan bloke. I don't know what else he does.
The funny one from that silly podcast, that couple, that married weird couple, and the one with the guy with the no memory.
It's like the bloke from Up. He looks like the old boy in Up.
No, that's not very good memory, but remembers pissing up his wife. That's the one, that guy there. Owns 3 chickens, there is. But he doesn't eat the eggs. That one. That's it.
What a beautiful podcast this is, eh? It's supposed to be a wedding. Hello, wedding couples.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
We've
and
spoken
You
about
can book
steak.
us with this or that, yeah? It's the
Nothing gets
Do you know
removed.
what's funny? When we do work together,
Oh, yes.
trust me,
You ever work with Chris Harding? Do you know Chris Harding, the magician? I suppose you don't really get a magician and singing waiters together.
It's funny actually.
Because they're classed as a bit of a one-on-one.
So I work with another magician. We got a little package that we do called Magic and Mayhem. So he does the
Oh, right,
magic
okay.
and I did the mayhem at the end. Spencer Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know Spence, yeah. He looks, you remind me of him, funny enough.
Yeah.
You both are
Just a younger
similar.
version. I know, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
both
I get
similar
that.
in sort of structure, though, aren't you? You're both
What,
tall,
tall?
and slim. And
So we like to look after ourselves.
You've both got a similar... Yeah. You've both got a similar way about you. Yeah.
Performerish, isn't it? That's the thing. Chris, I know Chris, but I haven't worked with him. No.
It's funny as arseholes.
But,
Funny,
but sometimes you don't always like you say, even though you I think sometimes because the magicians are normally gone before I do my bit. So the other thing is when you don't always get to chat to them as much either. So I know Spencer because we've done so many like wedding fairs at Chilston Park and various other places where we recommended supplier. So Chris, I've only done a few with him, but I haven't worked with him. No, I think I might have done maybe one wedding with him. Maybe not. No, maybe not.
Anyway, you were vegan. You were...
Sorry, I like the way you
I have to be the sensible one sometimes.
Rachel wants to get to the gym.
What time's the gym session? What's in for? Is that
So if I go to the gym
today?
after this, I'm like, all right then.
If you must. Why don't you should do gym in the morning when you get up?
Yeah.
I've got
busted.
school run and stuff like
No,
that.
earlier, before the school
Yeah.
run.
So do most people have school runs. They've got children.
You do know, like, I have to, like...
What?
Oh, my God.
No, come on. Before
Well,
I
I have to get up at 6:20 and then 6:40 to get
I can
Tilly
hear
out.
chickens, but I can hear those violins playing the distance as well. Jesus, like really, really small ones. What time do you have to get up?
I don't think Rachel's ever sworn on the podcast this much.
What time do you get up?
6:20.
Oh, it's a bit early, isn't it? Sun's been up for ages by then. Sun was up at like 5:15 this morning.
But some of us have 2 jobs to do.
Oh, here we go.
3 jobs if you count mum being a mum.
But that is a big job.
Yeah, see? As
I
well
have to
as my
say that.
normal job and Cherrywood and looking after you because you're a frigging child sometimes.
I only pissed up her arse.
That was a number of years ago, though. That should have been
15 years ago.
That
Should have wiped it off by now.
Exactly. You should have. That should have definitely been left at the door by now. Shouldn't it? Really, to be quite fair. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I'm up normally just about 5 o'clock.
See, that's
I
what
meditate, work out, cold plunge every day. Non-negotiable.
But
So
you're not
I have to work up before my
exhausted,
kids get up.
What time do you go to bed, though? Do you go to bed early?
9:30, 10.
Yeah, so it's reasonably early.
Because obviously, if I'm doing a wedding, then I might be back roughly that time. But then I'm still up roughly about that time.
See, that's why I don't watch telly, see?
Yeah, I
Well,
listen
I
to
don't.
music, podcasts, normally good ones, of course.
Yeah, not this one.
Yeah. I mean, ones with good content in them.
Fucking hell, you won't find any of that here.
But and the other thing is, if you don't get up and work out beforehand, then the day kind of runs away. Like you just saying, you're saying you're going to go to it, you got no chance. I'm just going to row on this. This is it does happen that way. That you then try and schedule stuff, and
Stuff happens. And,
especially with family. Like, because you got how many children? Did you say
2.
Yeah, so we're 4. We've got 4. The school, so I do all the school runs. I do all the school runs in the morning, and then Karina will do them in the afternoon if the weather's okay. Otherwise, if it's raining, I'll go and pick them up and that stuff. But it does.
See, look at that! Look at that! Of a nice husband.
What do you say? What do you say?
When
I
the
lost
school runs
interest.
aren't, when it's raining, he'll go and do the school run.
I don't mind doing the school run. I ain't got a problem with that.
You've got a version of school runs, haven't you?
The thing is,
I've got this feeling.
the thing is, she works past the school, so she finishes work
that's fine.
and she's on her way home just as school opens. So why
That's
wouldn't she
absolutely
do
fine.
it? Pick 'em
I
up?
don't
You
mind
could still
that.
give him a call, though, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I can't see why.
If I'm running and running late and going, right, I've got to stay here, and he's like, no, you get him.
Look, she needs to earn this. So if that means she's got to do the school run, then she'll keep me.
I know you'll probably forget that in a few minutes' time.
He will. Or he'll come off the podcast and go, I'm so
Sorry about that, bud.
So sorry. Don't
You know I
take
only
that
did
to
that
heart.
for the podcast. didn't I?
That if I don't do that beforehand, then the day, there's no chance.
Yeah.
There's no chance I'm about to get to work out.
I know exactly where you're coming from because I hate the idea of working out midday and then feel like I need to wash and shower again. That's what bugs me more than anything. I'd rather do it in a block and then get ready and ready.
See, that makes a difference as well. That so getting up and doing it, and then being able to be ready for the day to do what you would normally do, but you haven't got to go back into that
My
mindset.
gym's not open at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've gone from a 24-hour gym to one at 8 o'clock, 6.
6 till 8.
Yeah, but you could work at home.
I know.
Well, only open for 2 hours.
That's why I got to
I
go.
wonder if it's cheap.
Yeah, you could work at home.
Yeah, you could.
That's it.
Yeah,
And I
is
do,
that.
don't I?
she does.
I do that.
Yeah, there's a hula hoop in the utility room which pisses me right off. Hanging.
And skipping and everything. It's normally when it's the kids are in bed and I think, right, okay, I'm done now. I can actually focus on what I need to do. You know, do exercise, do this, do that. And he's like, I'm sitting down. I'm going to watch TV.
Yeah, so at the end of the day is the worst time to do it. Best to do it morning wise.
So about your
question, sorry.
experience.
Yeah.
How did we lost 20 minutes after that? 20 minutes.
So vegan. So as I didn't mention until near the end of the podcast, I made a reaction to meat, fish, and dairy 10 years ago. And
What was the reaction? Sorry.
So
Why are you asking me questions?
No, I'm asking. I'm interested.
so basically, I've got a very high white blood cell count.
Right.
So most people have got about 36%. I've now got 56%, 54%. Right?
Okay.
So I generally don't get ill.
Yeah,
I haven't got
you
ill
fight
since my
infections quite a
20s, something
lot.
like that, late 20s. And it's my body's way of overcompensating for the fact that anatomically, without getting into a major discussion, you're not really created to eat meat. So there's blue zones all over the world where you can eat meat. I get that, yeah, and it's healthy. It's all down to the whole food that you eat, yeah? But it's my body's way of overprocessing and saying I shouldn't be eating certain things. So I did my Reiki and other stuff like that. So I opened up levels of different frequency. Supernatural.
No, we have. There's another one for you to look at.
Right. Well, good podcast.
Harmony and Sound.
Yeah.
Right,
So we had
okay.
her on. She does Reiki.
She's
She does the
Reiki.
gongs.
Yeah.
So I did a sound bath for the first time the other day, funny enough.
Who was it? Diane?
No, it was a young lady. She did it at a place near Chatham Docks. I can't remember the lady's name. It's quite young. And that was really the first time I've ever done that. So I've been doing the cold plunge there. I got my cold plunge for my 50th last year. I've been cold showering for years, meditating for about 10 years, probably a bit longer. So I'm into all that kind of stuff anyway. But sound bath first time was literally the other week, which was really good. But yeah, the Reiki stuff then opened up different levels of frequency. And so then I was eating the meat. And before that, even though I'd done personal training, like hobby and stuff like that, I was in the gym 6 days a week, chicken and rice every day, that kind of stuff. And then literally I was eating this meat, and then all of a sudden there's a bit like I was the animal being slaughtered. That's what it felt like. I had this really weird, and then I was throwing up violently, and I was in a really bad way.
I'm assuming the chicken was cooked.
Yeah, it's all that.
You're obsessed with that.
Yeah. And then so I was eating meat, and then it did it while I was eating dairy, and it progressed. So it was meat was first, then dairy, and then eggs. So I was eating eggs up until probably maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3-4 years. And then I was coming out with a rash and stuff like that, and then just starting to feel a bit ill, and it was not agreeing with me.
So it was your body's way of saying to
you can't really be that. But the meat in particular was like a frequency thing. So it was to basically from an energy point of view, we're all connected, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all connected with animals. So
440 hertz or something in it.
Yeah, so the animals themselves, we're basically animals, aren't we? We're the same. So it's a bit like you're eating yourself, really, kind of thing. And it was really, really strange, really strange, but and not nice. So then I had this really bad, and then ever since then, if I have anything that's animal related that it's not been for a number of years that there's been any accidents, but that I've had something, and then I felt really, really ill, and then I get really, really messed up in the head.
Wow. See, there's a part of me that agrees with what you're saying, that we're all Earth, we're all on Earth, we're all animals.
There's a part of you that doesn't.
But then you see animals eating animals. So what do they need to do a bit of Reiki then, and then they're being tuned?
No,
do you see what I mean?
I think because I think the other thing, the animal thing I think animals have a slightly different instinct to us, don't they? As well, if we were, I'm not saying basically we're all exactly the same.
We used to have that instinct.
We did, but now we've got different ways of thinking, haven't we? That's why we've evolved, haven't we, as such as they say. So it's like I was having a conversation the other day. I turned up at this bit. It was old Camaraderie, actually, funny enough. First time I'd ever been there, and the chef walked in the kitchen. I was like, "Oh, chefs!" I was like, "I'm like, yeah, that's right." I'm singing way out, and the chef said to me, "Gorilla or 100 men?" And I went,
"What?"
To be quite fair, I wouldn't sleep with either. He was like, he went, "I love you." I said, "You can back off." And we were just saying, and I said, "What's it?" He said, in a fight, like if it was like 100 men or the gorilla, who would win?
Yeah.
And I was like, the gorilla.
Gorilla, yeah.
And he went, "Thank you very much." And he turned around to all the other younger lads, the pot wash and the kid. Said, "See, look," he's like, and the other guy was like, "No, he wouldn't, because like 100, like, yeah." I said, "No." I said,
"They'd overthink it all."
And I said, the animal instinct of a gorilla and the sheer strength of a gorilla, I'm not saying men can't be strong, but physically you wouldn't be able to get because one of them said, "Yeah, but if we like 100 men just charged this gorilla, that'd be," I said, "Yeah, but logistically and physically, how could you get 100 men standing next to each other to charge a gorilla? You couldn't, could you? Even if there are big guys, you'd only be able to get like 5 or 6.
This is something I've never thought about. Right. But I know where you're coming from.
And I said, the physicality is a gorilla could crush a man's skull literally like with one blow. So physically as well, strength-wise, it's a no-brainer. You wouldn't be able to. But if you wore the animal down over a bit, and then one of the other chefs had obviously given it time to think, said, "Oh yeah, we'd probably lose 50 men in the process." I said, "Yeah, but..." So this was the thought process I thought.
Yeah.
Psychologically, if you're 50 men dead and you're the 51st man running up to help kill a gorilla, you're going to go,
"I'm going to die now."
"No, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to be gone." You're not going to join in because the mental side of things, the mindset that's involved with anything, because then I said the same fact of me getting up and meditating and working out every day.
That's where you're right, because I sort of worked it out in a computer. Just get with no sort of mentality about them, just based on strength, mobbing this thing.
But when you put a mind to it.
When you put a mind to it,
It's like the mindset.
Start bottling it, wouldn't they?
It's like the mindset of doing anything, isn't it? Like we're just saying about getting up and working out, or getting up and doing anything. Not everyone works out, and it's not because they haven't got time. It's the same as like, that if you work out, you function better, don't you? So this stems from the fact that you capitalise on the fact that I believe health is wealth. So if you work out, it makes you better in other areas of your life. It spills over. There's a saying that says if you pee in one part of the pool, you pee in another part of the pool.
And for mentally,
right.
oh my God, amazing.
But a lot of people don't understand that working out isn't about the physical.
No.
It's about the mental. The mental stimulation you get from a physical workout is actually far better than worrying about the physical concept of it.
Because if you actually break it down and look at what you're actually doing and how many calories you're burning on a treadmill and everything like that, it's very little. But your mindset is so much clearer when you've left that gym. You know that as well. The amount of times you've gone, I don't want to do this. And then when you come out, you're like,
they always say there's no such thing as a bad workout. So the same we said from the gorilla incident, the mindset side of things, even from the physicality, yes, a gorilla is far stronger. Yes, like the guy said, they probably like tire the gorilla out over time. But the mindset of 100 men taking on a gorilla, if you'd watched X amount of people get killed, are you going to continue joining in? You're probably not.
No.
You're going to think
it's
of your own
100
life.
men prepared to die, then it
might be a bit different,
Yeah.
Because then the other thing, if you Google it, and it says about it online, they said that obviously we'd fight dirty, we'd use weapons to fight, but
but I'm thinking naked is what I'm thinking.
That, a gorilla's going to win because a gorilla is far stronger and their animal instinct is like either I will live or I die, I'm living. A man's thought process, our brains are created to keep us safe, not challenge us. So that's why men, people probably that and other stuff, don't do certain things, and they don't do certain things because they're not capable. They do certain things because they're worried about what will come of it or what won't come of it, or it's that I can't be bothered to do that. Why? Just because I can't. So there's not really a real reason why you're not doing it. It's just you're just not doing it. So it's that mindset, isn't it? So from a man's point of view, are you going to willingly put yourself in that situation again? You're not, are you? So that when he said that, he's like, and these other younger guys are like, I didn't really think of it, kind of like, and it's that, it's a different perspective, isn't it? But from a physicality point of view, I'm sure a gorilla's going to kill 100 men if they all lined up and they took turns.
Oh, of course, 100%
like
that.
If it was a one-on-one, 1-2,
even if you had the Rock Johnson, you had 6 Rock Johnsons standing round fighting this gorilla. From a physicality point of view, I'm sorry, a gorilla, they're immensely strong. They are. Immensely, and from the sheer animal instinct, he's probably going to kill you. Whether you really feel like you're going to take him on or not, there's going to be far more grit and determination for him to survive.
Even those little monkeys will rip your face off.
It's a survival, isn't it? It's a survival technique that I don't think we've become, and that's probably due to rationalisation, we become too comfortable. Comfortable, like we said about you said about the coal plunge thing. When I mentioned to people, I couldn't think of anything else, because people become comfortable. They like putting a coat on. That's why years ago people would walk around scantily clad and they become more unique to the cold. Like they've got built up a stress element. Nowadays people just go, a bit cold, to put a jumper on.
See, I feel the cold,
that.
but when I do a cold plunge, don't do it that often. Only when we go on a retreat somewhere. But I do. You know what I mean? And you get into that elongated one that's the same.
Jump
one. And what I do when I get into that is my mind looks forward to how warm I will feel when I'm out of it. Because you can literally, it could be a winter's day, and it was, wasn't it, when we did it? It was a winter's day, and I felt so warm because I'd been in it.
It's the fact that it goes in, but your body instantly goes numb, and it's like a million pins and needles all over your body. But after a while, it goes away, and it's actually quite nice.
See, I do it every morning. Or at the moment, I've been cold.
Do you have your own?
Yeah, I've got one. I've got one of the inflatable ones. It's in my garage.
Right. Okay.
So it's normally about 5 degrees.
And is it
5 degrees?
Has it got a flow to it? Because the flow ones are even worse.
Yeah. So I want to. Obviously, they're a lot more expensive. I want to get one that's got like a chiller and that.
Yeah.
But I get bottles and put them in the freezer. And then the night before, I put them in the tub and then take them out, and it normally sits around 5-6 degrees,
right?
Which doesn't sound cold.
No, it's cold.
If you stand it for 3 minutes, it's cold. And what I tend to do is when I'm in it, I move around because once you if you sit still, then you get like a thermal layer, and then you don't feel so cold.
Exactly.
And the first time I did one, it wasn't last August; it was the August before with one of my mates. We went to a breathwork day thing, and we did some breathing stuff, and we did the cold plunge, and we got into one of those lazy spas full of ice, and it was like 1 degree, and 4 people got in. So it was me, my friend, and 2 girls, and we got in, and one of the girls got in, and then she was in it for next to no time, and then she got out. So then the water moved again, and my mate was like,
Yeah.
and then so the guy calmed her down, and she sat back down again. And then a little bit later, she got up again, and the water said, my mate said, "You fucking," and then my mate said, because I'd already said it, because the guy went, oh, right, nearly. Right, 4 minutes, and my mate went, and we'd done 4 minutes. My mate was like, I thought we were only doing 3 minutes. I said, oh no, I said to him, we were up for 4. Like, and he was like, fuck. So, but literally, but it was, it's...
You do form
you do.
like a ready brick.
Yes.
Danger.
And I have to say that I do that, or I do the cold showers. And the same again, it does make you feel, even this morning, and my cold plunge means cleaning out, so I've been cold showering literally the past week. And this morning, I'd normally get up, meditate, cold shower, then work out. This morning, because I knew I was coming here, I thought, I'll shower and that bit later.
Yeah.
And I was miserable. Yeah, no, I mean before coming here. So I jumped in the shower just about 9 o'clock after I got back from taking the kids to school. I got back, jumped in the shower, and then got ready and come here. But I was like, and I felt miserable beforehand.
Yeah.
I could tell
that there was something
how it affects me. Because sometimes on a gig day, I won't do it in the morning because then I'll shower before I'm going to go to the gig. And I'll know. So this morning, prime example, because it was full moon last night. I don't know if you follow any of that weird and wonderful stuff. But it was full moon last night. Do you?
Yeah, I have a bigger sleep when the moon's bigger.
Oh my God, the last 2 nights. I've told you this morning, didn't I? I said I have been knocked out.
If the moon's closer to Earth, I know, without looking, I know if the moon's closer to the Earth because I will sleep like a log.
Yeah.
Funny you should say it, because a lot of people have the opposite.
That's what my friend said.
Because they say that you're made up of like 70% water.
Yeah.
So it pulls on the water in you. So they say people get a lot more emotional around full moon. They argue more. So you have to be more aware of that. So I always say to the kids on a full moon, I say it's full moon today, so make sure how you speak to people, be careful. And building up to it, I can tell as well, because the kids will be very unsettled.
See, from a personal point of view, I don't care if it's full or not. I just care how close it is to the Earth.
Right, okay.
So the closer it is to the Earth, the more it's pulling on the Earth.
Yeah.
And I think that's more important than whether it's full or...
I think isn't it closer when it's full moon? Is that how it works?
Not necessarily, no.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought when it was full, it was closer.
Not necessarily.
I have to Google that, have a look into that.
But yeah, definitely both.
But they say that's the case. They say that so it makes people more emotional and that kind of stuff. So I know the kids are playing up, or there's that I think full moon's coming or new moon's coming, and new moon happens every 2 weeks and the full moon happens once, so it's every couple of weeks. And the kids were like playing up, and one of them was up like with night terrors and stuff like that, and I kind of get that thing, and then they act up a certain way as well.
Yeah.
But so full moon was last night. This morning I got up. I should have cold showered this morning before going about my day as such. And this morning I just felt a bit miserable. And I'm generally like overly one of those just annoyingly positive people anyway, annoying. But I just was proper down this morning, and I just, but not down in a.
Nature has that effect on people, though.
But I just knew. I was a bit. But once I jumped in the shower, I was all right. And it's that.
Set alarm for 5 a.m.
But so it was that. So I knew I should have had my cold shower before I'd done my workout and stuff like that. But I didn't. So I got up, meditated, and went over to literally across the road from my house, Coney Banks, just across there. Oh, yeah. So I stand there and I watch the sunrise. Usually do my little.
God, you're proper into it, watching it.
You have to ground yourself.
I do my ground. Yeah. So the kids do it every morning as well. Get the kids to do the grounding. But generally, I'll watch the sunrise every morning. Yeah. If it's misty, I won't. Obviously, I'll just do my yoga at the back on my decking. But
we can watch it set lovely, can't we? But we can't really sit.
Can't really sit because the rise is over there, but setting
rise and sets over there beautifully.
But if you can't go out somewhere, see
you
it?
can probably go up the hill, can't you?
So literally across the road. So
I'll just send the drone up and watch it on the screen.
They say
look at this, babe.
There's a science that says if you watch the sunrise, so the first hour, you can look at the sun.
It's good for your eyes as well.
Yeah. So they say within the first hour. After that, it's not good. It's dangerous for your eyes. But they reckon within the first, and when it sets as well.
Yeah.
They reckon the last half an hour and the first half within the first hour, I think it is. You can look directly at the sun, and it's meant to be very good for the eyes and your mitochondria. Loads of benefits from watching the sunrise.
Because there's also a lot of this. I'm not drawing on the chair, by the way. But there's a lot of this. UV protection on your sunglasses. Some people say that sunglasses are pointless because they haven't got the right UV protection to actually protect you from the sun.
Growing up, we never had sunglasses on all day long, did we?
No, you wouldn't have. No.
Well, we are all blind, though.
I'm not.
You haven't got eyes. So.
But no, so the sun. So I this morning I went across there, watched the sunrise, and it's sorry misty that way, but I was just I watched the sunrise and then did my little sun salutation yoga thing, and then come back across, and now I normally jump the shower and then do workout, every calisthenics and something like that. But yeah. That's my morning routine.
We've got one more question for you.
Yeah.
This would be a good one for you, actually.
We ask people to choose a song and we stick it on our Cherrywood Podcast playlist on Spotify.
Right, okay.
George Michael? Anything you want.
Maybe something by the Police.
Yes. I'd probably say It's Probably Me by Sting.
Oh, okay.
That one?
I don't know that one. I play a lot of... Well, I used to play a lot of Police stuff, but I don't... It's a Sting, though, is it? Sting.
Yes, Sting. I like all types of music, but I would have either... trying to say what song... So I like all types of... So that's hard to think, but yes, now you just said Sting as well, and you said it. Otherwise, when you were saying about listening about Prejudice, some great songs.
What there are... Like the War one as well was beautiful.
That's probably one of my favourite ones.
Cowboys and Angels is good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, what's the War one?
I don't know. Mother's Pride, something like that.
That's it. Yes.
Is it called Mother's Pride?
It is Mother's Pride. Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah,
that is a really good song.
Really good. Yeah,
really good song.
Yeah, that's all thinking about it.
Yeah, so Mother's Pride. Or It's Probably Me.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming. Spending 2 pissing hours with him.
Been an absolute pleasure.
He knows how to talk, doesn't he? Has it been a pleasure? Oh, I feel bad now for taking him off.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to give everyone your details?
Yes.
It's the only time we look at the camera, really.
It's VIPwaiters.co.uk. That's where you can check out my website, or VIP Waiters Live on Instagram. I've also got VIP Waiters Live TikTok now, which I've had going for a few days now. Yeah. That's the best place to catch me. Yeah, website vipwaiters.co.uk, or VIP Waiters Live on Instagram, or VIP Waiters Live on TikTok. Check it out.
Excellent. Cool. And we're cherrywoodpodcast.com.
Or Cherry Productions.
Or cherrywoodpro.com. Or cherrypro.co.uk.
Just a throw in there.
KMTV we're on now. Yes, on KMTV. Channel 7.
TV.
Is it Channel 7?
Channel 7.
Or 6?
No, Channel 7, because 6 is Family Guy.
All right, Channel 7 on terrestrial, on normal TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I performed on KMTV like a zillion years ago. I remember being on like a programme on there.
Well, they have that.
Or something.
But unfortunately, it's 48 minutes long, our show on the KMTV, so they asked me to edit it. So I'll get 2 episodes out of this.
Yeah, sorry about that. You actually got to do some work.
You might like to be continued for this.
Yeah, that's what I might do. See you next week.
Have me back on. Do you have many people come back? How does it work? We have a lot
of people asked to come back on.
Of course you do. You're going to say that now.
No, we do. We do have a lot of people asked to come back on. Have we had? We've had the RKG trio back on because LKG trio. I don't even know the name. LKG trio back on because
they had a song out.
They play in weddings. They play it, and then they came back because they'd released a song. So we had them back for that. Anyone else we had back on?
We had someone come.
Solar panels.
Yeah.
So we had the guy that. He does solar panels and security stuff, and the first podcast was talking about him more than anything, but he asked if he could come back to talk about the benefits of solar panels.
Okay,
so we did that's actually out on Friday. Well, it's gone now because I've got to think we're in June with this podcast, so that comes out on Friday, but
nice,
it's already gone out.
Thanks, Ed.
So that's what is Friday's date? May the 14th.
Yeah.
So May 14th is the solar panel one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's the case of if you've got something to bring to the podcast, we're more than happy.
Like the donuts you got us.
Yeah. Thank you very much, those. The kids really love those as well.
Yeah. So
but yeah, if you've got something to bring to the podcast, absolutely we will. But if you're going to sit there and say the same thing,
rubbish.
Yeah, if it's the same introduction about yourself and all that business, then it's not really worth it. And unless something, give it a couple of years and something new's happened in your life and you can come back on. That's about it. All right.
Cool. But thank you so much for coming down. It's been an amazing 2 hours, 11 minutes, 28 seconds, 30 seconds.
Pleasure.
Brilliant. That's it. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
So
shit for that. Club Awesome, for autistic children and their families, a place where everyone belongs and fun knows no age limit.
Today's sponsors are New Digital, helping businesses build their online presence with web design, SEO, Google Ads and social media. Get 10% off when you quote Cherrywood today. Visit their website at nudigitalera.co.uk.
This podcast has been brought to you by Snugdubs Camper Van Hire.
Roam the world, park anywhere.
That's snugdubs.co.uk. Need stunning video or photography for your big day or even your business? Cherrywood Production delivers award-winning results with a personal touch. From weddings to promotional content, we turn your vision into reality. Visit cherrywoodpro.com today. Your memories, our passion.